I addressed my ad personally to this sailor. This piece of cord told me a sailor owned it. There was a sailor's knot in the cord, and the knot was peculiar to those tied on Maltese vessels. Therefore, when I put the ad in the paper, I asked the sailor from the Maltese vessel, I checked on the name of the vessel from the sailing data in the paper, to come and get the beast.
Well, naturally, I came to pick him up.
Ah, now I see.
One question I must ask, sailor. How did the orangutan get hold of a razor, and how did he manage to escape?
I had the animal locked in my quarters. I captured him in Malta and brought him to this country to sell to the zoo. They're very smart, you know. For last night, when I entered my room, he was trying to shave with my razor. When I tried to chain him up, he escaped. He ran out into the streets, saw the light in number 12, Rue Morgue, climbed up the lightning rod to the ladies' apartments. Well, you know the rest.
Indeed we do. Well, gentlemen, if you have any other problems you wish settled, call on me. Just call on Monsieur Auguste Dupin. Incidentally, if you'd like to see the orangutan, you'll find it safely locked up in the zoo.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the immortal tale, Murders in the Rue Morgue. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have heard another immortal tale in The Weird Circle. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Be here in this lonely cave by the restless sea once again next time for another immortal tale in The Weird Circle. The Weird Circle. In this cave by the restless sea, we are met to call from out of the past stories, strange and weird. Bellkeeper, toll the bell, so that all may know we are gathered again in the Weird Circle.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, the telltale heart.
Eight o'clock. 8 o'clock in the evening. House is quiet. Deathly quiet. My uncle and I have just finished our meager repast in the dining room. Listen. Yes, that's my uncle, walking up and down overhead, pacing the floor. He senses it, too, my nervousness. Every night after dinner, he leaves the dining room and goes upstairs to the second floor, where he paces up and down. And suddenly, his heart begins to beat louder and louder. you can't hear it, but I can. My nervousness has sharpened my senses. Yes, I can hear things no one else can hear. Confound my senses. The footsteps. They've stopped. Now he'll walk down the circular stairway and join me here in the parlor. And I'll have to look at him, watch him. That eye. I've nothing against him. But his eye, that huge, distorted eye.
If the eye offends thee, pluck it out.
Pluck it out.
Tortures me at night. I lie in bed and shut my eyes. But that horrible thing peers at me, embedded in my senses. That eye glistens and shimmers. It haunts me.
Kill.
Kill. I've nothing against him. My uncle, my only relative.
The eye.
Pluck out the eye.
The eye. He's coming, yes, now down the stairs, sniffing as he blinks. The swollen lid covers that eye. Uncle, is that you?
Is it me? Of course it is. Who else would it be, Charles?
I don't know.
Now for a nice hour of relaxation. Will you join me in a cigar, Charles? Here, take this one of mine.
Thank you, Uncle.
Sit down here.
I'd prefer sitting back here, Uncle.
Oh, nonsense. I can't see you over there, and you can't see me. Come, sit over here.
I'd much prefer to stay here.
Do you dislike my company after all these years, Charles?
No, Uncle. All right, I'll join you. But
why are you staring at me like that?
The eye.
Look at the eye.
Staring at you.
Red and swollen, hideous.
A pale blue film covers it.
Kill.
Charles?
Yes, Uncle.
Come, light up your cigar. Here's a light. Now, that's better, my boy. These cigars have a rich, fragrant aroma. A very rich, fragrant aroma. It lulls a man's nerves into a peaceful state. It leaves the mind free for contemplation, doesn't it?
Kill.
Yes, Uncle.
Kill.
Nothing like the hours spent meditatively. Oh, blasted visitors. You answer the bell, Charles.
Yes, Uncle.
I dislike being interrupted like this. It's bad for my digestion. People should know that.
Good evening, Mr. Holscomb.
Well, good evening, Charles. I hope you and your uncle don't mind a nice neighborly visit.
I'm sure we don't, Mr. Holscomb.
I'm glad. I was all alone this evening and felt the need of a nice, friendly chat, so I dropped over. Good evening, Mr. Woodward.
Good evening, Mr. Holscomb. How are you this evening?
Feeling surprisingly fit. Man of my age has no right feeling so healthy. Bad for the doctor's income, but I feel like a man of 20. Just as fit physically and mentally as Charles here.
Thank you, Mr. Holscomb.
Well, won't you join us for a little while, Mr. Holscomb?
Love to. Yes, indeed. I'd enjoy it.
Can't be for long. I'm retiring early, but a short visit would be appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Woodward. Mind if I light up my pipe?
No, not at all, Mr. Holscomb. Charles, get him an ashtray before he scatters the ashes all over the carpet.
Yes, Uncle. Here you are, Mr. Holscomb.
Thank you, Charles. Well, what's this?
Well, as any idiot can plainly see, it's a knife.
Yes, a knife, Mr. Woodward. It's a strange-looking knife.
Belonged to our ancestors. Charles, what's it doing down here off the hook on the wall?
I took it down from the wall to clean it, Uncle.
Clean it? Well, old knives are supposed to look old.
Clean it.
Clean it.
I'll put it back.
Be careful, Charles, my boy. I knew of a young man exactly your age who took a family heirloom down from the wall one night and well, blasted if it didn't slip and cut off his right arm. Yes, took the arm clean off right to the elbow. He was a mechanic by profession, and it Well, it ruined his career.
Be careful, Charles, in putting the knife back. You'd better stand on a chair, Charles. It's much wiser to take an ounce of prevention.
Yes, your uncle's right.
How's that, Uncle?
Well, it's not hanging straight. I like things to hang straight. It annoys me to have something crooked on the wall.
Yes, it means a death in the family. One of the pictures in my house was crooked on the wall the night of my wife's death. Now, I'm not a superstitious man, mind you, but
That does it, Charles.
All right.
Now, put the chair back where you got it.
I'm not a superstitious man, mind you, but I was confounded when she died. Confounded, I tell you.
Yes, I imagined that you were confounded.
Of course, that coincidence really doesn't compare with an event which occurred to a friend of mine. His name was, very common name. What was it? Smith. Peter Smith.
Now, what about Peter Smith?
He had a picture on the wall in his home. Well, this picture sidled over on its wire, refusing to stay upright.
The picture refused?
I swear it's true, Mr. Woodward. Well, I was there, if you don't believe me. Do you know what happened?
No, I do not know what happened.
Peter Smith died that very night.
All rot. What time is it, Charles?
Almost 9 o'clock, Uncle.
3 more hours. 3 more hours.
If thine eye offends thee, pluck it out.
It's 9 o'clock. It's almost my bedtime, Mr. Holscomb.
Oh, don't mind me, Mr. Woodward. I was about to leave anyway. I see. Look at the knife hanging on the wall. It slipped sideways again.
So it has.
Anxious? Anxious, Charles.
The knife is anxious.
Reminds me of Peter Smith's picture. Well, I must be on my way. Don't bother to see me to the door, Charles. I'll find my way out. Good evening, Mr. Woodward.
Good evening, Mr. Holscomb. Confounded in it. That man makes me nervous, Charles, with his stupid stories of Smith. Fix that knife, Charles.
Of course, Uncle. I'll fix it right away.
I'm tired. I'll go on up to bed now.
I'll help you up the stairs, Uncle.
Help me? Since when do I need help? Well, maybe I do, Dad.
Anything else you want of me besides opening this window, Uncle?
No, nothing, Charles.
I'd better take this chair out of your way.
Oh, the chair isn't in my way.
In case you should awake during the night and want to get out of bed. You don't want to stumble over chairs on your way to the door.
Well, I never awake during the night, Charles.
But you might.
Or we might. Yes, we might. We might creep in here.
I might, yes, I might. Oh, I might do anything, my boy. I also might not. Now, take the candle with you before you leave, Charles.
Of course, Uncle. I hadn't intended to leave it burning.
Of course. We'll take it with us.
Of course.
Good night.
Good night. 9:30. 9:30. I must be clever. I must think everything out very carefully.
Yes, carefully.
Must wait till midnight. Yes, till midnight. Why must I wait till midnight? Why?
That's the plan. The clever plan.
Clever.
Walk down the stairs and wait in the parlor. The room will be dark, and I'll wait. I'll wait. He'll be asleep by midnight.
Clever.
Then at midnight I'll creep up the stairs with a knife. And if the eye offends me, pluck it out. It must have meant me. Of course, it's all so clear.
Clear and clever.
First thing to do is get the knife. Go into the parlor, stand on the chair, and get the knife.
Be careful, Charles.
Careful with the chair. You pull up the chair and stand on it, but be careful.
I'm always careful. Now I've the knife. What do I do next? What is the plan?
Sit and wait. Sit and wait.
Oh, the doorbell. Who could it be at this hour? This isn't part of my plan. No, not part of my plan.
Get rid of them, whoever they are. Get rid of them.
Oh, Mr. Holscomb.
Sorry to disturb you, Charles, but I left my pipe here. I looked all over my house for the blasted thing before I remembered I'd left it here.
Well, it must be in the parlor.
Don't bother yourself. I'll get it.
It's no bother.
Why, you're trembling, Charlie. Did I frighten you when I rang the bell?
Well, I wasn't expecting you.
No, not expecting you.
Expecting you.
I read of a man in the paper who died of fright when his doorbell rang. It was just the other day I read it. Very amusing article, too. But, oh, here's the pipe. Imagine my leaving it behind.
Yes, imagine it.
Thanks again, Charles. What's this knife doing down here again?
It slipped.
Slipped again, did it? Well. Just like the picture at Peter Smith's. Let me know if anything happened.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Good night, Charles.
Good night, Mr. Holscomb. Now, the plan. The plan to wait. Wait for midnight. For midnight. Yes, for midnight. Yes, slowly. So very slowly.
Does Holscomb suspect Charles?
He knows that the knife had been moved.
Does he know it's in your hand now, Charles?
Snugly in your hand.
The plan calls for the knife to be in my hand.
Charles, your palms are moist.
Maybe the knife will slip, Charles.
It's almost midnight.
Yes, Charles. 15 seconds.
Maybe the knife will slip, Charles.
It can't slip. It belongs in my hand.
Where is the lantern, Charles?
You've got to see, you know.
I have it. It's ready.
Listen, Charles.
Listen.
Midnight. 12 midnight.
The time has come.
Yes, the time has come.
Now for the lantern. Light it. Light it. Shut the door of the lantern. No light can escape. None. None.
The lantern in one hand.
The knife in the other.
The knife.
The knife.
Listen. The house is so quiet. Yes, deathly quiet. I must walk quietly.
Listen.
Listen.
My senses sharpen. Every second makes them sharper. I can hear the rhythmic beating of the old man's heart. The beating of his heart.
Beating out his last breath.
His last breath.
His last breath. Do you know death is outside your door, Uncle? Death is waiting, Uncle, waiting. The door of your room opens gently, Uncle. Very gently, Uncle.
Careful, the plant.
Careful, careful.
Listen. Listen. The heart. The beating of the old man's heart.
Who's there?
Stand still, Charles.
Stand still and wait. Just wait. Wait until his gleaming eye is focused on your face.
Who's in my room? Who is it? Oh, where's my candle?
Don't answer, Charles. Don't answer.
Just wait. Wait.
Charles! Charles!
He's calling for you. Little does he know.
Charles!
Calling for you.
Calling for you.
Oh, someone's in my room. I can see the shadow across my bed. Who is it?
Let him guess and worry. Worry.
Worry.
The room is hot. Hot in heaven's name. Answer me.
Don't move a muscle. Just stand still and wait.
Wait, wait.
Oh, what is it? Who is it? Where's Charles?
Listen to his heart.
His heart. Listen to his heart.
Now it's panic. Later, it will be the forewarning of death.
Oh, somebody help me.
Now raise the lantern. Slowly, Charles.
That's it. Focus it where the eyes should be.
Then slowly open the door of the lantern and let the light shine in that eye.
If the eye offends thee, pluck it out.
The eye. No, not the knife. Not the knife.
Listen to the heart beat its last beat.
He's dead. He's dead. And I'm free of that horror. Free of the eye. Of the scorpion eye. The horrible scorpion eye.
Clever, Charles. Burying the body where no one will ever suspect it to be.
Clever.
Yes, I am clever.
Underneath the floor of the parlor.
Underneath the floor in the parlor.
Yes, right here beneath me. I must be careful, very careful.
You are careful. Hammer the nails in straight.
The nails are important.
Very important.
One more nail, and then my job is done. 1, 2. Now what? Oh, yes. Pull the big upholstered chair over the grave. There. And then place the carpet just as it was in front of it.
Clever.
Yes, I am clever. Very clever. The plan has worked. He's dead. He's dead. And no one knows.
No one knows?
I've cleaned up his bedroom, scrubbed it, put his clothes away. Not even a bloodstain remains to give me away.
Not one?
Not one. No trace. No trace at all.
You're positive?
Of course I'm positive.
Clever, Charles.
Of course I'm clever. Today I'll tell the neighbors my uncle left for the country.
Will they believe you?
Of course they'll believe me.
Believe you?
Believe you?
And tomorrow, early tomorrow morning, I'll say I'm leaving to join my uncle in the country. It's so easy. I'll disappear. Disappear completely from the world. Forever from that eye. That huge, distorted eye.
So I dropped over to this precinct station, Inspector Gelby, and thought I'd tell you about it.
Yes, a very strange story, Mr. Holscombe. You say this old man, Mr. Woodward, has never left town for the baths before?
Not for the last 20 years, sir. I've been their neighbor for longer than that, really.
And the nephew, Charles Woodward. How did he seem this morning?
Very much the same as usual, perhaps a trifle more chipper. Said he was looking forward to joining his uncle at the baths tomorrow.
And you're positive this scream you heard last night came from the direction of the Woodward house?
Absolutely. I was standing at my window at the time, looking out. It must have been a little past midnight. Suddenly I saw a gleam of light from Mr. Woodward's bedroom, and then the scream.
Scream last long?
No, but I'm positive no unimportant explanation is behind the scream.
It sounds fishy enough, Mr. Holscombe. Certainly no harm in investigating it. The boy is innocent. He'll be glad enough to allow us to search his uncle's bedroom. If he's guilty, well, we'll know in good time. Yes, in very good time.
Mind if I go with you?
Not at all, not at all. I'd like to have you along, Holscombe. You're always welcome.
This isn't a case of idle curiosity, Inspector. It's just that I enjoy collecting these little tales of death and murder. I've made it a life hobby, and I hate to miss an opportunity. Yes, I hate to miss an opportunity.
Search the house, Inspector, if you don't believe me. My uncle's room is right at the top of these stairs.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
My uncle will be very amused by all this when I tell him.
Oh, it's not that either I nor Mr. Holscombe suspect anything, you know.
No, certainly not, Charlie, my boy.
Of course not. Yep. This is my uncle's room, as you no doubt know, Mr. Holscombe.
Yes, of course it is.
Search to your heart's content.
Room's in perfect order.
If I murdered my uncle mysteriously, there ought to be at least one blood stain on the bedclothes or on the floor.
Mind if I undo the bed to look at the sheets?
Well, not at all, Inspector.
Careful.
You are clever, but be careful.
The bed sheets are used, but there's certainly no sign of violence here.
Well, naturally, Inspector.
And the floors. Spotless. Your uncle must be a very neat man.
Exceedingly neat. Isn't he, Mr. Holscomb?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I'm sorry we bothered you like this, sir. But you know it's better to be on the safe side.
Well, I understand perfectly, Inspector.
I'm sorry, Charles.
Perfectly all right, Mr. Holscomb. I would have done the same thing in your shoes. Won't you gentlemen join me in the parlor for a cup of tea before you leave?
Well, now, we'd be too much trouble.
No trouble at all, I guarantee you. No trouble at all. Here, I better close the door to Uncle's room before dust blows through from the hallway. You know my uncle's fetish. Well, I'll join you gentlemen in the parlor shortly, after I fetch the tea.
A very amusing story. A very amusing story, Mr. Olson.
I always thought so, Inspector Gilby.
You collect stories of crime, don't you, Mr. Holscomb?
Yes, indeed. I found some prize ones in my day.
Yes, I imagine you have.
He'd enjoy your story, Charles.
Yes, he'd enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Pass the sugar, Inspector, please.
Huh? Oh, yes. Here you are.
Listen, Charles.
What is it?
Listen.
What'd you say, Charles?
Nothing.
I've a very amusing story about a woman in India. I read it in the paper the other morning just as I was eating some very fine orange marmalade.
Listen.
It's the heart, Charles. The old man's heart.
The heart. You can hear it.
No, it can't be.
What can't be? He denies the truth of my story even before I tell it.
What about the woman in India?
Can it be the beating of the old man's heart?
Well, she murdered a rich uncle of hers.
Can a man I murdered return to life?
It's getting louder and louder.
Louder and louder.
Why did she murder him?
No known motive.
They're playing with me. They're both watching me.
Watching you.
How did she murder him?
Cut him in little pieces and hid him under the flooring in her bedroom.
Under the flooring.
Making a mockery of a living horror.
They know, Charles. They know.
They know, Charles. They know.
What's the matter, Charles?
He looks ill.
Ill.
Make it stop. Make it stop.
They're playing with you.
Playing with you.
No.
Watch him, Inspector. He's
fools. Don't play with me like this. You can hear it. I can see it in your faces. In your evil, grinning faces. You can hear it.
The heart. The telltale heart.
Returned from death.
Admit you can hear it. Becoming louder and louder. Louder and louder.
Louder.
Stop it. Stop it. I admit the deed. I admit I murdered my uncle last night. Only for the love of God. Make his hideous heart stop beating.
You murdered?
Yes, I murdered him. Tear up the plank underneath his chair. Rescue the body. But stop the beating of the telltale heart.
Telltale heart.
Telltale heart.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought to you the story, The Telltale Heart. Bellkeeper, pull the bell.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have heard another immortal tale in The Weird Circle. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Be here in this lonely cave by the restless sea once again next time for another immortal tale in The Weird Circle. the weird circle. In this cave by the restless sea, we are met to call from out of the past stories, strange and weird. Bellkeeper, toll the bell, so that all may know we are gathered again in the weird circle.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, the cask of Amontillado.
Bells. Jester's bells. For 40 years I've lived with the sound of those bells. Fool's bells. Jester's bells. They call me rich old Angelo Montresor. Envy me my palazzo and my well-stocked wine cellars, my vast estates and honored reputation. Little do they know that all I possess is dust and ashes, for I am a man who longs for death. But years ago, in this same lovely Italian town, I was the young Angelo, filled with dreams of the future, happy in the company of my good friend Fortunato. We were walking together one spring evening in the Piazza Santa Anna.
Come, Angelo. Here's the cafe. They say Beppo keeps rare old wines. I should like to sample some.
I know you fancy yourself a great connoisseur of vintages, Fortunato mio, but I shall not join you now, for I am meeting Lucia.
You and your Lucia. Let's have a glass or two. Keep her waiting. That's good for any girl.
Lucia isn't any girl. She's the bright star of my life. I love her very dearly.
Love? You may love her, but what makes you think you can win her? What have you to offer as a son-in-law? Likely face and figure, granted. But wealth?
I'm my uncle's heir.
All you Montresors are long-lived. Have you business sense, brains, ambition?
My ambition is to have Lucia for my wife, a small casa.
Yes, and many sniveling bambinos.
Yes.
No. No, my dear simpleton, you haven't a chance with her father. Now, suppose it were me. Lucia is beautiful, yes. I might even wish to marry her myself. And I could, yes. Merely by telling her father that I wish to. That would be a good business alliance. But love, nonsense.
How can you say such things, Fortunato? Why do you brag so?
I'm not bragging. I shall always get what I want. I am a leader of men, whilst you are a love-lorn loon. Born to be a sheep and a follower.
Well, I'm not following you now. Go, sample your fine wine and talk of the great things you will do. I have something much more important to do.
Angelo! Angelo!
It's Lucia. Isn't she lovely?
Very lovely.
Caro mio.
Lucia, darling. It's wonderful to see you.
Greetings, my little pigeon.
Good evening, Fortunato. But I am not your little pigeon.
Good night, Angelo.
Arrivederci, Fortunato. Lucia. Lucia, dear, you were almost rude to Fortunato. Why?
I do not like him. I know he is your friend, but...
He is. He's a great fellow and very fond of me.
Is he?
Of course. Man's man, perhaps, not a woman's ideal.
He's cruel and hard. A girl can tell. But let's not talk of Fortunato. Are you going to speak to Father tonight?
Yes. But I'm afraid he won't allow you to marry me.
Why not, Angelo?
I have no wealth, no business
Darling,
sense.
do not belittle yourself so. You are all the world to me.
Lucia, is this miracle true? You do really love me?
With all my heart. Now and forever. Be brave, Angelo. Speak to my father. He He will not deny me happiness.
To my great joy, her father gave us his blessing. Lucia was to be my own dear wife. I was walking on air, humbly, deeply grateful. Just before our wedding was to take place, all our friends were invited to Lucia's home to celebrate. It was a happy evening of song, wine, and congratulations. Fortunato, most of all, seemed elated at my good fortune, and he and I were the last to take our leave. We walked along through the dark, empty streets, talking of the party and plans for my coming wedding. We reached his door.
See here, boy, I do not like your going home alone.
Huh?
It's the blackest kind of night. I think I should go along with you.
You mean you walk me to my door and then I escort you to yours and so back and forth till dawn,
But
huh?
these streets are not safe so late at night.
Oh, nonsense. I have my land.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you.
No, I'm not afraid. Buonanotte, my friend.
Till tomorrow, Angelo.
That's funny. Fortunato's worrying over me. It is pretty dark. What's that? I keep imagining I hear things. Someone is following me. Who's there?
That's him. Grab him.
What do you want? Oh, you fool, Rufio. Don't let this lantern shine in your face like that. Smash it.
Help! Help! I've got his hands. Get that sack over his head.
Keep him quiet, Rufio. But don't kill him. They don't pay for corpses.
Just a gentle tap. As limp as a rag in my arms. Now, take his feet and hurry.
I regained my senses and awoke to a misery of mental and physical anguish. I had no way of knowing where I was. The hot sun was beating down as I lay with other human wretches in the scuppers of a filthy ship. Running through my aching head was the name Rufio, and the picture of that scarred, cruel face glaring in the last glow of my lantern. I had been sold into slavery. I, Angelo Montresor, lashed and beaten on endless marches over burning sands, and on into the barren mountains, where in our misery and pain we were put to hard labor in the stone quarries. I'll not forget those endless years. The ache in my heart for my beloved Lucia, my longing for my native land, and above all, the haunting hate I bore for the man Rufio. I swore I'd find him, if not on this earth, then in an even worse hell than the one to which he had condemned me. And then one day, a miracle happened. I escaped. Starving and nearly dead from exhaustion, I reached the small seacoast village. There I begged crusts. Yes, begged in the streets for soldi to buy my passage on some vessel bound for Italy.
See here, my son. Look up here.
Allah, Allah! Arms! Arms for the love of...
Let me look at you.
Benedetto Cielo. My language. My native tongue.
As I thought. Your skin is dark enough and you're filthy as any beggar. But those eyes of yours tell me that once you had another god than Allah. Come, man, speak. Are you not a countryman of mine?
Si, signore. And I hope to return to my homeland as I hope for heaven.
You are not fleeing justice?
I'm seeking justice for the foulest treachery.
I'll let that wait. You can tell me your story later. My ship is about to weigh anchor, and if you'd like to come along...
Like to? May the saints bless you. But I have no money to pay you with.
Well, don't let that worry you. After a bit of food and rest, I'll let you work your passage home.
As a free man, I sailed for home, stepped ashore on the soil of my beloved country, and walked eagerly into the town where I was born. I longed to seek out Lucia, but I was ashamed of the sailor's clothes I wore, so I hurried to my old friend Fortunato's to borrow something suitable. Is Signor Fortunato at home?
No, sir. Only the Signora is in.
His wife?
Si, Signor.
Good old Fortunato married? Why, this is wonderful news. My compliments to your mistress, and say that a very old friend of her husband begs an interview.
Madame is not well.
Oh.
But I shall ask if she will see you. Come in, Signor.
Thank you. I shall wait here.
Signora! I heard every word, Anna. Leave us. Quickly. Angelo. Angelo.
Lucia.
Angelo, my love. Oh, is it really you? Let me touch you. Let me look at your dear face.
Oh, my Lucia.
Oh.
How I've longed to hold you close in my arms. But now you and Fortunato...
Yes, Angelo. It was my father's wish that I marry Fortunato. When they told me that you were dead, I died too. I became a thing with no heart, without any will.
Oh, Lucia.
Fortunato was your friend. I thought it would bring you nearer because we could talk of you. But he's never allowed me to mention your name. Oh, Angelo, he is so cruel.
Fortunato? Cruel to you? Oh, my darling. What shall we do? I love you so.
And I have loved only you. And always shall. But, Angelo, there's something I must beg of you. Implore you to do.
Lucia, beloved, what is it?
When Fortunato comes, if he seems rude to me, say nothing. Do nothing. It would only make him more cruel. Oh, there he is. He must not know that I have told you. Act, Angelo. Act for my sake. We must seem carefree and gay.
Carefree and gay.
Fortunato, come in here. A miracle has happened. Why, hurry, see. Here is a long-lost friend.
What are you babbling about? Who is this? Dio Possenti, Angelo. But you were killed.
No, old friend, not killed.
Oh, well, heaven be praised. We've mourned you all these years. What happened? Where have you been?
Well, that night I left you at your house, I was followed and set upon by two ruffians.
Santa Maria.
And to think I let you go home alone. Oh, I blame myself. Have you any suspicion as to...
Suspicion?
Yes.
Absolutely none. Through all the years of torture, I try to think, who did this to me? What hidden enemy?
Or perhaps, Angelo, a false friend.
Be still, Lucia. This is man's talk. You will serve us best by getting a bottle of my favorite Lacrima Christi from the cellars. This should be a celebration.
See, Fortunato, though I do not know one bottle from another.
She has a fear of my wine cellars, hates to go down there. Ah, what an escape you had, Angelo. From matrimony, I mean. Were you surprised to learn I had wed your Lucia?
Why, I thought you scoffed at love.
So I do. Marriage of convenience, uniting of two fortunes. Lucia's a very lucky woman. I'm a rich man.
Yeah, yes. Lucia is very lucky.
Here she comes. We'll see if we're lucky. Well, sweet pigeon, what have you brought us to drink? Ah, sapristi, I thought so. You've as much knowledge of wine as a donkey. Vino Rosso.
Fortunato! Why, there's wine all over Lucia's dress.
And it may make her more cheerful, even if it is only on the outside.
Lucia, are you all right?
Pay no attention to her clutching at her heart, Angelo. That's a gesture she's fond of.
But she's not well.
Lucia's always ailing, aren't you, my sweet?
Shall I get another bottle?
No, I'll fetch the wine myself. But wait. Perhaps I shouldn't leave you two childhood sweethearts alone together. In those rags, Angelo, you are no romantic hero. And as for Lucia...
Lucia, what is he doing to you? Oh, my darling, I can't believe it. Fortunato, once so good a companion, a gentle friend.
My dearest, in those lost happy hours so long ago, I warned you that Fortunato was cruel and hard, not to be trusted.
And I believed you wrong. Oh, my Lucia, come away with me. We'll seek a new life together.
Oh, no, Angelo. I am Fortunato's wife.
What of our love? Our love that has sustained us during all these years.
That love will never die, my darling. But there can be no happiness for us on this earth. Our love can be a love fulfilled only after death. Oh, Angelo. Angelo.
I hardly know how I left Fortunato's house that day, nor remember how I took up my lonely life. My uncle had died, and I was now the owner of the Montresor fortunes. Months passed. Fortunato and I met, of course. I was unable to understand his treatment of Lucia, but I didn't blame him for my tragedy. He had thought me dead. Seeking forgetfulness, I often wandered to the waterfront. The wretched hovels were usually silent and dark. But one night I saw a glimmer of light and heard angry voices. I was about to pass by when I heard a familiar voice.
I paid you to kill him, Rufio, you dog, and in order to gain more money, you sold him into slavery. How dare you?
Signor Fortunato, that meant death, a slow death.
Well, he didn't die. Angelo Montresor is home and alive, and you must do your work again.
Oh? Oh, so you have come to pay me more gold for a second killing?
Yes.
Signor Fortunato, I hate shedding blood, but I do love money. You are a rich man. Surely you don't wish Montresor to learn of your friendly efforts?
Blackmail, eh?
Persuasion. For my silence, 1,000 lire?
1,000... Death! Take that! For your silence.
I couldn't move or cry out. I hardly breathed. I saw my old friend Fortunato slink from that wretched hovel, a liar, a murderer, a Judas. I had to think. I would have vengeance, that was certain. But I must run no risk of being found out. Above all, Lucia must not be involved. She must not learn of her husband's treachery. I began to lay my plans, but vowed that neither by word or deed would I cause Fortunato to doubt my goodwill. This resolve was soon put to the test. It was carnival time. I came to face with Fortunato. The man wore motley, and on his head a pointed jester's cap with bells. Gaily costumed girls followed him.
La saluto, Angelo. Well met.
My dear Fortunato, how remarkably well you look.
Don't I? A connoisseur of beauty as well as of wine. But come along, let's have a bottle right now.
I'd love to, but I'm not in costume.
Well, get yourself one. This is carnival. Meet me at the cafe. We'll make a night of it.
Perhaps I will.
All right, see you later. Then I'll wait for you. Don't fail me.
Signor Angelo, I thought I'd never find you in this crowd.
Anna, what brings you?
Madonna Lucia is dying.
No. Oh, no.
Father Luigi is with her. Hurry, Signor. She is calling for you.
You have come in time, my son. She has not long to live. Where is she, Father? In here, my son. She awaits you.
Angelo, beloved, you have come.
My own dearest love.
Yes, your own, forever. I've always belonged to you, never to Fortunato. Oh, beware of him, Angelo mio. He taunted me cruelly today. Boasted that it was he who had paid to have you murdered.
I know, Lucia mia. Don't try to talk. I know it all. Just lie here in my arms and remember our great love. There.
But Angelo, I beg you, do nothing against Fortunato. It would only bring harm to you.
Beloved, nothing matters but you.
Angelo, kiss me. Our last. Addio, my love.
Lucia. Lucia. Addio. Lucia died in my arms, and my heart died with her. But my mind was keen. At last I was determined that the plan I had made would be carried out. Now, tonight, the carnival was at the height of its madness, and I knew where to find Fortunato. Providing myself with a mask and domino to avoid recognition, I pushed my way through the revelers. Fortunato! Fortunato!
Who called?
It is I, Angelo.
I didn't know you in that gay disguise. What's the secret?
Where can I find Lucchese?
Lucchese, why?
Well, some time ago I ordered a cask of Amontillado.
Ah, that nectar of the gods.
And when I got home just now, I found it had been delivered.
You jest. In the middle of the carnival?
Yes. And I was silly enough to pay the full Amontillado price. I was afraid of losing a bargain.
Lucchese cannot tell Amontillado from Chianti. I am the man to tell you whether you've a bargain or not. Where is this precious cask?
In the dungeons of my house. My secret cellar.
To the secret cellars, then. Lead on. You're making me thirsty.
Oh, no, my friend, no. I can't impose on you. Now, Lucchese...
Nonsense. Come.
No, Fortunato, be sensible. You have a severe cold, and remember, my vaults are damp.
My cold? Amontillado. That will cure my cough. Let me judge it for you. Come.
Taking 2 torches from the wall, I gave one to Fortunato and bowed him through suites of rooms to the archway leading to the vaults. Down long, winding stairs, we stood at length on the wet earth of the Montresor catacombs. Fortunato's step was a bit unsteady, for he had tasted much wine, and his bells jingled as he walked.
The cask.
Oh, much further on, beyond these newer coffins. Oh, it's cold here. We'd best go back. Your health is precious, and you are a man of importance. I cannot be responsible for your illness.
Enough. I shall not die of a cough.
True. I do not mean that you should. But stop a moment. Here in these bins is wine. A drink of this Chateau Lafitte will drive out the damp. Here you are. Break off the neck and warm yourself.
Fair Bacco. A cheerful spot for a drink with all these coffins and bones, eh? I drink to the buried that repose around us.
And I drink with you to your long life.
These vaults of yours are enormous.
Yes. We're below the riverbed now. Beyond these casks and coffins are the inmost recesses of the catacomb.
I can wait no longer. Where is this Amontillado?
In there.
Through that grill door, an iron door. Looks like a dungeon.
So it is. It's the dungeon where the old Montresors kept their precious captives, and where now I keep my most precious vintages.
I can hardly see my torch burn so dimly.
Oh, that's just because the air is foul in here. But look, there's the great cask. I'll hold your torch. There. Here's a flagon. Go in and sample it to your heart's content.
At last, the Amontillado. I have not tasted it in years. Ah, Angelo, this is superb. It is priceless. But bring the torches. Where are you?
Here. Outside the door.
Angelo, what are you doing? A very good joke indeed. An excellent jest. We'll have a good laugh about it back at the cafe. Now let me out. It's damp in here.
It's very damp. Feel the niter on the walls.
Open that door. I wish to return to the carnival.
The carnival is ended for you. Besides, you promised to give me your opinion of my Amontillado.
Just the wine. Let me out of here.
The door is solid iron. You'll only hurt your hand.
Angelo, open this door. I say open it this moment.
And I say no. This is my moment. My time of revenge.
Revenge? For the love of heaven, Montresor, don't leave me here. Mercy.
Had you mercy when you stabbed Rufio?
Montresor, the damp, the dark, have pity.
Had you pity when you paid to have me murdered?
Angelo, save me. Don't leave me here. Pity for Lucia's sake.
Silence. Don't mention her sainted name.
But I'll die like
Yes, Fortunato, you'll die. And none but the rats will ever find you here. I leave you with the bones of my ancestors.
Angelo! Come back! Don't leave me! Angelo!
The hideous tinkle of those jester bells. 40 years I've lived with the sound of those bells. Fool's bells. Jester's bells.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have heard another immortal tale in The Weird Circle. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Be here in this lonely cave by the restless sea once again next time for another immortal tale in The Weird Circle.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, the oblong box.
There, Captain. There she is.
Hand me your glass. Aye. 5 aboard. Very well, turn about. We'll drop line and take them on.
Aye, sir.
Stand by the mainsail! Longboat sighted northeast. Life lines on up.
You make out what ship she's from?
Too far, Captain. She's American, though.
Aye.
Now, we'll soon be on them.
Mate, if the captain's with them, send him up to my cabin.
Aye, aye, sir.
Take in the mainsail. Easy now, don't run him under. He's to.
That's about all, Captain. We'd been at sea in the longboat for 2 days when you sighted us. Just about done in. My friend here, Mr. Allen, was the only passenger to survive.
You say you're from the packet ship Independence, eh?
Aye.
What cargo were you carrying?
Cotton, a little hemp, and some timber.
I see. And that was all?
Aye. Did you happen to pass some drift, Captain?
We did. Nothing you just spoke of. Would you care for a little more grog, gentlemen?
Oh, thank you.
And you, sir?
Yes. Yes, please.
No, we passed nothing adrift that you mentioned, but, we did hoist aboard something rather strange, you might say. It may not have come from your ship, though. Could only make out the port of embarkation and the date. Charleston, South Carolina, August the 2nd, 1881.
That was our port. That was our date of sailing.
Captain, what was it you took aboard?
2 bodies. Passengers, I suppose. A man and a woman. Rather unusual, though. The woman was in a coffin, an oblong box. You seem startled, Mr. Allen.
I am. And the man?
That's the strange part. He was lashed to the coffin by an inch-thick rope.
Oh.
From your reaction, Mr. Allen, I presume you know something about the box?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Then, Mr. Allen, suppose you relate the entire story.
Very well. To tell you the truth, Captain, I'd intended telling no one. You see, as Captain Hardy told you, the dead man had been a friend of mine. I'd hoped the sea would keep its dead. The man whose body you found tied to that oblong box was an artist from New York. His name was Cornelius Wyatt. As I remember, Wyatt had been married only a few months when I met him quite by accident. It was at our port of sailing, Charleston. I'd been on board only a few minutes when I heard his voice calling me by my first name. I was quite surprised to see my old friend.
Edgar Allen, hello there.
Wyatt! Why, heavens, man. How are you?
Oh, it's good to see you. How long has it been?
Oh, a good year since I saw you last, at least. Let's see. Yes, since 1877.
All the places to meet you.
Now, tell me, Wyatt, is your wife aboard?
My wife? Well, yes.
Good.
More people have raved about her astounding beauty to me than I could possibly count. I've sworn to see her with my own eyes. Where is she?
I'm sorry, Edgar. I'm afraid that would be impossible. You see, she's ill in her cabin.
Oh, what a shame. Well, then, later, I'm sure
No. Really, I think she'll remain in bed for the rest of the trip. Her health wouldn't permit it.
Oh, come, Wyatt. You wouldn't cheat me of this chance to meet your beautiful wife. The sea air'll do her good. Or is it because you're jealous of such beauty, huh?
Please keep such remarks to yourself. My wife's appearance should be of no concern to you.
Oh, but, Wyatt, I was only joking. I meant no harm.
Your humor is not appreciated, Mr. Allen.
Well, forgive me. I assure you I meant no harm.
I beg pardon, sir. You Mr. Wyatt?
Yes?
That there box of yours, you're having it shipped in the hold?
Confound it, man. How many times must I give these instructions? My cabin, you understand? It must be put in my cabin. Must I tell the captain himself?
Sorry, sir, but there's hardly any room for such a large box in your...
I don't care how little room there is. That box will go into my cabin if I have to move it there myself.
Sorry, sir.
Confounded fools. Must I beg them to carry out my instructions?
Is that the box?
Excuse me, Mr. Allen. The clumsy fools may drop it. I'd better watch them. I'll see you later.
Although at the time I was surprised by my friend's sudden outburst, I passed it off to temperament. After all, he was an artist. At the moment, I was more concerned over the oblong box than over my friend. It bothered me quite a bit. I couldn't find a reason for his being so overwrought over the placement of a cumbersome large wooden box. And furthermore, I couldn't find a reason for his use of one that shape. It was about 6 feet long and 2.5 feet wide. To me, its contents were a mystery. At first, I excused it as containing a number of his precious paintings. About 3 days out of Charleston, I met Wyatt again. He was walking about the deck. As I approached him, he cordially offered me his hand.
Hello there.
Hello, Wyatt.
Edgar, I believe I owe you an apology.
Apology?
Yes, you must forgive the way I acted the day before we sailed. I'm not as well as I should be.
Oh, think nothing of it.
Here, let's sit here. That's it. I'm under a severe strain, Edgar. Perhaps I should tell you. You are my friend. I should tell someone.
Why, of course.
What others have told you about my wife is true. She is beautiful. Very beautiful. I'm afraid too beautiful.
Yes?
I was one of many, many suitors. I was the fortunate one. Why, I don't know. She doesn't love me, Edgar.
Are you sure she doesn't love you?
Yes, I'm sure, very sure. Since I've been married, she's done her utmost to make me jealous. She knows how I worship her beauty. She knows her power. Men have always loved her for it. They still do. I know, Edgar. I'm suffering because of it. There are men today who would give anything for my wife's hand. Anything. She knows it. She taunts me with it continuously. The way she looks at me, laughs at me.
You're in love with her?
Desperately.
You'd never give her up?
Never.
And she knows this?
Of course. That's why she taunts me.
Well, perhaps if I could see her...
No. She's still ill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This trip. You know why I'm going to Canada? Do you know why?
Paintings?
I'm taking her away. Away from all those men. She'll learn to love me. I'll make her. I'll keep her beauty for myself.
Perhaps this is an extreme.
Extreme? No, it's the only thing to do. You don't know the torture I've suffered. Well, let's talk no more about it. I feel better now.
As you wish.
You will keep my confidence?
Oh, without question. Now, how's your painting coming, Wyatt?
I haven't touched a brush in months.
But the canvases you brought aboard, weren't they yours?
Canvases?
I suppose they were in the large box you have in your cabin.
Why do you suppose that?
Well, because of its unusual size.
That box doesn't concern you. It's none of your business.
I didn't say that I...
Don't ever mention that box again. I forbid you. You hear? Don't ever mention that box again.
Perhaps I've been too hasty, Captain. Perhaps the man just isn't well physically. Why, the box, it could contain something unimportant. I think I was overly curious, that's all. I've known him for a long while, you know. He's always appeared perfectly normal before.
And everything's been all right lately?
For the past few days, yes. He's been perfectly cordial.
And I think perhaps it's best we pass over the entire matter. There's probably some some simple story behind what's happened.
Here, more port?
No, thanks. I think it's best I be getting back to my cabin. Looks as though there's an unhealthy storm brewing along the coast. I'd best get back.
Oh, I noticed it getting a little rough. Will it hit us?
I can't tell yet. Well, good night, Mr. Allen. Perhaps you'll join me at dinner tomorrow night, eh?
Thank you, Captain. I'd be... Listen.
What?
Shh. I thought I heard... Listen. Again.
Nothing. I hear nothing. The wind, that's all. The events have made you a little nervous, I suppose.
No, wait. I'm sure I heard something strange. Groaning or something from out there.
Open the door. It's probably the ship's cat.
Captain, here, quickly!
The passageway's black. The steward probably took the lantern to...
Listen. Again. Hear it?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
It came from the darkness down there to the end of the passageway.
Well, somebody's in trouble. Who has the stateroom at the end of the passageway?
I think Wyatt. The first two are empty.
Well, come along. Pull your cabin door closed.
I'll get a lamp. The darkness...
No, I know my way. We may need the darkness.
Very well.
Now, stay close. The first two, you say, are empty?
Yes.
And this one you believe is Wyatt's?
It should be.
I'll stand here a moment. I'll listen again.
A knocking. Tapping.
I'll try this latch. I'll open it as quietly as possible.
There's no light under the door.
Stand back.
Easy now.
What? Blast it. It's locked from the inside.
Well, someone is definitely in there.
I'm going to knock. Now listen closely. Someone is in there. You heard it?
Hello in there. Is that you, Wyatt? This is Ellen. Anything wrong? Hello there.
No answer. I don't like this. Open the door, Wyatt. It's the ship's captain. I'll be forced to break in. Here, help me. Help me as I count three.
Go on.
1, 2. Ready now? 3.
Where are you, Wyatt?
Wait. There's a lantern by the port. I'll strike a light. Stand here and... Empty. The room is empty.
For a moment, both of us stood there, in the gloom of Wyatt's cabin. We were sure somebody had been there but a moment before. We'd heard them. And now the cabin was apparently empty. The door had been locked from the inside. Nobody could have left the room without our seeing them. Then suddenly Captain Hardy pointed to the right wall of the cabin. There in the dimness of the gloomy shadows.
Alan, this cabin and the one beside it are adjoined. Now, let me get the light and see if the adjoining door has been opened. Whoever left in a hurry. Here, Alan. Give me a hand. I can't reach the lantern. Blast it!
Hardy!
All right. Just stumbled over this blasted box. My hand.
The oblong box.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I didn't mean to intrude.
Wyatt!
May I come in? There's another lamp by the table. Allow me, Captain Hardy.
But where did you come from? How did you get into the passageway
there.
when
That's better. Mr. Allen, I have been walking my wife on deck. May I introduce you? Oh, you may come in, Marjorie. Marjorie, this is Mr. Allen, the man who desired to meet you so much, and the captain of this vessel, Captain Hardy.
How do you do?
And now, gentlemen, may I ask the reason for your, breaking in?
We heard a noise, a cry. We thought it was from your cabin.
That would have been impossible. There was nobody there.
Are you sure? We heard...
Of course I'm sure. There was no one here, I tell you. And now, gentlemen, if you don't mind...
Wyatt, before we go...
Yes, Mr. Allen?
Ask your wife to remove her veil.
Marjorie, would you please oblige the gentleman? My wife, Mr. Allen.
Your wife? But
She is beautiful, isn't she?
Yes. Yes, she is.
You, too, seem stunned.
Quite. Yes, quite. Captain Hardy, come. Thank you, Wyatt.
One moment, Captain Hardy.
Yes?
Would it be too much to ask for a new cabin door? This one seems to have suffered slightly.
I'll see to it.
Good night, gentlemen.
Hurry. To my cabin. His wife. Did you see his wife?
Yes. She was hideous.
His rave about her beauty. Why, he's mad, Captain. Hopelessly mad. She was horribly ugly. Yet she was familiar. I've seen her before. I know it. Where?
Did you notice the door leading to the adjoining cabin?
No.
It was open slightly. Someone could have left Wyatt's cabin and reached the passageway through the empty one next to it.
Hardy.
Yes?
Your hand.
Huh?
Covered with blood. Well, you must have cut it yourself when you fell. Here, let me wash it off.
No, it isn't cut.
Yes, but that blood.
It isn't mine.
Well, then where did you...
The oblong box, Mr. Allen. The oblong box.
What was behind this terrible mystery, neither of us knew. We would inform the police as soon as we put to port. From then on, I saw nothing of Wyatt. 2 days passed since the incident in his cabin. And on the second day, Captain Hardy warned all the passengers of what was in store for us. We were forbidden on deck, confined to our cabins. We were being blown out to sea by a furious hurricane wind. On the fateful night, I was lying fully clothed on my bed. The sea was sickening. The ship was yawing terribly with each plunge. I was expecting the worst at any moment. Then suddenly, above the roar of the terrible gale, I heard a strange sound coming from the passageway before my cabin. I was a little bewildered at first. For a few moments, I sat there on my bed, wondering. And then...
Edgar! This is Wyatt! Do you hear me?
What is it?
I need your help, Edgar! I need your help!
Go back to your cabin, Wyatt. You hear? Get out of the passageway. It's dangerous. The ship may...
Please open the door. You must. You must help me. You're my friend, Edgar. Please.
Very well. What? Good heavens.
My box. I've got to get it on deck. I've got to. The ship may break in two at any moment. Please help me. I can't manage it alone. Please.
Well, you must be completely insane. The storm is too high. It's suicide, I tell you. You'll be blown overboard.
Just to the door. You don't have to go on deck. I have some rope. I'll lash myself to the stays. I'll be safe. Please.
Yes, but your wife. You can't leave your wife alone now. Go back to her. Snap out of it.
Just up the stairs. Please, Edgar. You're my friend. Please, Edgar, please.
Very well. To the top of the stairs.
The other end. Take the other end. That's it.
Go on. I have it. Hurry, it's heavy.
All right. Here. This way. Up these stairs.
I've got it.
Here. Don't drop it, Edgar. Don't drop it. All right. A little further, Edgar. Just a little further. Now. There.
This is as far as I go.
Oh, thank you, Edgar. Thank you. You don't know what this means.
Now, go back to your cabin.
I can't. I must get my box on deck.
Then I leave.
No, please. One other favor. Hold this hatch while I push the box out.
I beg you, Wyatt, use your head. The water will swamp us. Listen to it.
Please, Edgar, please.
Well, then, stand back. I'll open the hatch. I'm not responsible for you, you fool. Hurry, confound you, hurry. We'll be swamped. For heaven's sake, Wyatt, you'll never make it. Wyatt, watch out. Come back, you fool, come back. I've got to close it. Come back. Hold that hatch! Get back! Captain, here, help me. Help me close it quickly. In the heaven's name, hurry. Now, push.
What in thunderation were you doing?
Wyatt, he's out there. He took the box.
Good heavens, he's done for. No, it's too late to help him now. I'm afraid we're going to have to abandon ship. She's breaking. The starboard lifeboard, they make for it.
Yes, but Mrs. Wyatt, she's below. She'll be killed.
I'll get her first.
The starboard boat, Edgar. The starboard boat.
Mrs. Wyatt! To the boats! Mrs. Wyatt, we're sinking! Come on!
Where is he?
Hurry this way. Run!
No, wait, please. Please, listen.
In the name of heaven, woman, come on, quick! No time to lose! Good Lord. Mrs. Wyatt! Mrs. Wyatt!
Then suddenly she disappeared before me. Water gushed down the passageway. She was swallowed by it. I struggled forward and made my way to the starboard boat. I jumped for the swinging davit and lowered myself as speedily as possible into the longboat. Captain Hardy joined me with 3 others of his crew. And then, just as we pushed out from the trembling mass of wreckage, I saw it. Hardy did too. Standing to aft, I saw Wyatt. He was binding himself tightly to the oblong box. He stood there for a moment, I thought laughing. Then in one brief instant he was gone with the ship. Into the sea.
And, that's all?
Yes.
I see. Would you gentlemen be so kind as to follow me? This should prove rather interesting. This way, gentlemen.
Captain, when did you find this box?
Yesterday afternoon. In here, please. Mr. Allen, hand me that lantern. And watch the stairs, please. They're rather sharp here.
Lead on.
Ordinarily, we would not have bothered with a floating body. It's generally some poor wretch from a wrecked vessel. However, due to the box and the peculiar circumstances, I thought it best to hoist it on board.
Yes, but the decomposition...
Oh, the salt water helped preserve them for a while. I thought we could reach New London safely with them. However, since we were blown off our course by that wind, it will be a good day and a half before we reach land. I'm afraid I shall have to commit them both back to the sea. Mr. Allen, swing that door open, please, will you? Over there, in that corner.
Yes. Yes, that's the box.
Captain Hardy, would you kindly hold the lantern while I lift this blanket?
Certainly.
Is this the man you call Wyatt?
Poor devil. Hardly recognizable. Yes, that's Wyatt.
And now, Mr. Allen, if you would give me a hand with the top of this box. It had been firmly nailed. However, we pried it loose when we took it aboard. Just pull at that end carefully.
Good heavens.
Even after 2 days at sea, death did not destroy that waxen beauty.
It's almost impossible. Still so beautiful.
You notice the wound over the heart.
Yes.
Mr. Allen, that was the beauty Mr. Wyatt talked of.
Why, of course. This must have been his wife. But wait, the other Mrs. Wyatt. Oh, yes, of course. I knew I'd seen her somewhere before. The maid. Their personal maid. Yes, now I remember. She tried to tell me something before she drowned. Wyatt murdered his real wife.
If only we had done something sooner.
Murdered his wife? How could he? Why?
Insanely jealous. Terribly jealous. To die with her would be better than to live with her and her beauty. He planned to murder her on that trip when I saw them stowing that box. Remember the groans? She was murdered that night. The blood, it was fresh. Remember the tapping we heard as he nailed her in this coffin. Hardy, I think we'd better leave. Yes.
Yes, Wyatt. Your wife is very, very beautiful.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the story, The Oblong Box. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale. The case of Monsieur Valdemar.
Dr. Froissart, you may proceed with your statement.
Murder. I, Dr. Emile Froissart, stand charged with murder. But, Your Honor, murder means to take away the life of someone. I did not take away the life of Marie Valdemar. I granted her life. Granted it from the depths of my knowledge of facts which previously were known only to God. But let me tell you my story. One night, about 8 months ago, I was sitting in my study when...
Dr. Froissart, a visitor wishes to see you.
Oh, I'm about to begin an experiment in self-hypnosis. I cannot be disturbed. Tell him to come some other time.
Sir, I told him that, but he said it might be too late.
Too late? I'm no longer a physician subject to the call of every glutton whose stomach repents his sins.
He knows you are a physician, no more, sir. He said he needs you to employ your powers of mesmerism. I wouldn't have bothered you, sir, but he seemed so desperate.
Mesmerism, eh?
Yes, sir.
I'll see him.
Dr. Froissart will see you.
Dr. Froissart, I'm Ernest Valdemar. I don't know how to thank you. My wife, my sweet wife Maria, lies desperately ill. I'm sure she will die.
Monsieur Valdemar, you have gained entrance to my office by a trick. I cannot help your wife. My license to practice medicine has been taken away by pill peddlers who didn't have sufficient intelligence to understand my study of hypnotism. Take your case to one of them, Monsieur Valdemar, and permit me to go on with what they call my black art.
Dr. Froissart, when I told your servant I wanted to employ your hypnotic powers, I meant it.
Huh?
I am acquainted with what your fellow physicians have done to you.
You know?
Yes, and I've heard your lectures on mesmerism many, many times.
Oh, you like my lectures, eh? Oh, they were nothing. Wait till my new experiments are complete.
But, Doctor,
Please, you will really hear something then. On the threshold of discovering the art of hypnotizing myself. But... You see, when a trance has been...
Please, Dr. Froissart, some other time.
I beg your pardon. My enthusiasm, I forgot myself. Please go on.
My wife is at the point of death.
You have a physician attending her?
Yes. Dr. Bulow.
Bulow? That dullard. He headed the committee which revoked my license. A more hypocritical, bombastic blowhard I have never seen in all my life.
Let me tell you.
Oh, please forgive me. Go on.
We've been married a short year, during most of which Maria has been ill. We have not even had time to skim the cream of our happiness when ill health overcame her.
What is the nature of her illness?
Dr. Bulow says that it's a rare type of incurable consumption. She lies abed, her beauty unabated, but under the surface her flesh is rotting away in decay and waste.
I see.
Tonight, perhaps tomorrow, she will breathe her last.
Monsieur Valdemar, believe me, sir, I understand your desperation. But I cannot see how I can help you.
By hypnotism, Dr. Froissart.
Hypnotism?
Yes, from the depths of my anguish, an idea came to me. In your lectures, you have stated that a person in a mesmeric trance is, how shall I say it, suspended, lifted out of the stream of life.
Yes?
His consciousness is not like that of an ordinary feeling mortal.
I see. You mean that if your wife were put in a trance before she died...
She would go on living, exactly. She would be beyond the reach of death.
Extraordinary. Monsieur Valdemar, you have leaped the last step in the logic of mesmerism. It is the thing for which I have been groping blindly in my studies.
You'll do it, then.
Well, the idea intrigues me. It has never been tried, but I need time to think.
But, Dr. Fozard, there is no time. Maria may be gone before we can attempt to save her.
Very well, then I'll do it.
God bless you, sir.
But there is one condition. For my own protection, her doctor must be in attendance.
Bulow?
Yes. Otherwise, if the experiment should fail, I will be placed in jeopardy. I might be accused of unlawful practice.
But at this time of night, how can we gain his consent?
We must induce him to attend. Otherwise, I cannot risk the experiment.
My carriage is outside.
Good. We will go to see my friend, Dr. Bulow.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Come. We must hurry.
Froissart, I tell you, you are overreaching yourself.
Bulow, you have thrown me out of the profession. You have deprived me of my right to earn a living. Very well, I'll not hold that against you.
Oh, that's quite gracious of you.
Please, gentlemen, my wife.
That's right, Bulow. This issue is Monsieur Valdemar's wife. Not my pride. Not your medical orthodoxy. I do not presume to tell you whether to make your worthless pills out of bread or out of sugar.
Well, I should hope not, you.
Well, then, please don't presume to tell me how to practice my art.
Art? Sheer bunkum.
Perhaps it is. But I am willing to put it to the test. I approach this experiment with an open mind. Monsieur Valdemar's wife lies abed, dying. Monsieur Valdemar loves her, wants her to live. You shrug your shoulders and say, poor fellow, it is hopeless.
Well, it is. If you remembered any of the medicine you learned, you'd agree.
I say it is not hopeless. He wants his wife. I'm willing to try to save her.
God bless you, sir.
No, Monsieur Valdemar, God will not bless him. The first thing a physician learns is that there comes a time in the course of an illness when it is sacrilege to stand between man and his maker.
Bulow, please do not dress up your lack of medical knowledge in the cloak of a sermon.
I tell you, sermon or not, no mortal person can meddle in matters of life and death without meeting the consequences. As Madame Valdemar's physician, I cannot sanction this blasphemous experiment.
Well, Monsieur Valdemar, there is your answer. I'm sorry, but to proceed without Dr. Bulow would only be putting my head in a noose.
Dr. Bulow, I have held my tongue, but I can no longer be silent. I have given to your care the most precious thing I own, my wife.
Monsieur Valdemar, are you suggesting that I have not performed my duty?
No, Dr. Bulow, I'm not, at least not until now. As long as you were willing to try anything your knowledge and experience suggested, I've been patient. But I cannot bear to let Maria slip away from me without attempting to save her.
What more can I do?
Come to my wife's bedside.
Oh, it's madness.
Dr. Bulow, I have hesitated to say this. But if you do not come at my request to attend my wife, I shall spend the rest of my days reviling you to the people of this town. A doctor who is unwilling to come to the deathbed of his own patient, no matter what the circumstances, will not find himself welcome in the house of the sick.
Very well. I shall go with you, Monsieur Valdemar, but only to protect you from this charlatan. Froissart, this is your doing. I won't forget it.
The light is on in my wife's chamber. Come, gentlemen. We have no time to lose.
I warn you, Froissart. Do not attempt any cure.
Dr. Bulow, please. This way, gentlemen.
Oh, Monsieur Valdemar, I am so glad you're here. Madame has nearly left us. Twice she called your name and cried, I'm going, Ernest. I'm going.
May God preserve her. In here, Dr. Froissart.
Ernest. Oh, I was afraid you'd left me alone forever.
Never, Maria. I've brought someone who will help you.
No one can help me now.
Do not say that, Madame. Put yourself in my hands. Think only of life,
of the joy of living. Dr. Bulow, would you care to examine the patient?
I have given my judgment. You may proceed.
Do you need anything, Dr. Fossard? Give me a candle, please. And everyone be good enough to remain quiet and let me have your attention and good wishes. Here is the candle. Thank you. Now, Madame Valdemar, I am going to put you in a trance. Are you willing?
Yes. Yes, I want to be put in a trance. But I'm afraid you've come too late.
There is yet time. Life does not exist in quantity. It is all or none. While there is life, it can be preserved if you want it, wish it, if there is nothing dearer than it. Look at the candle. See the flame of the candle.
I see the candle.
The candle will preserve you from death if you will put yourself in my hands. In my hands. Look at the candle and think. Think slowly. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Are you asleep now?
Not asleep, but very, very tired.
You want to sleep. You want to fall deep, deep asleep. You're tired. You're drowsy. Sleep. Sleep. There. There. Sleep. Maria, are you asleep?
Yes. Asleep now. Do not wake me. Let me die so.
Do you still feel pain?
No pain. I am dying.
Raise your arm and point at the candle. Incredible. She hasn't had the strength to do that in days. Now, lower it. That's very good. She's in a trance now. Will you take over, Dr. Bulow? Perhaps feel her pulse?
Very well.
God bless her. She looks so beautiful.
The pulse is steady, but it's very weak. It's growing weaker.
Her breath is hardly noticeable.
Give me a mirror. We'll see.
Here, Doctor.
There. Just the faintest clouding. Her life is ebbing away fast.
Are you asleep, Madame?
Yes. Still asleep. Dying.
Her pulse has stopped. The mirror doesn't cloud. She stopped breathing.
You mean all hope is gone, Dr. Bulow?
Hope was gone before, Monsieur Valdemar. Life cannot be lengthened by the application of parlor games. I only regret that your hopes have been raised so cruelly by this charlatan.
Bulow, did you ever think that there may be matters in this world beyond our ken? Forces which are indestructible, which live independently of the beating of the human heart?
Oh, you're mad. Dangerously mad. A deathbed is no place for this cabalistic mumble-jumble.
There can be no better place. For there, where life and death meet, is the great mystery which man must ever aspire to know if he is to know God.
What do you mean?
You, a physician, say she is dead. But I put her in a trance, and only I can release her.
But she is dead, man. Dead. There's nothing beyond death.
I put her in a trance, I say, and only I can release her.
It's blasphemy. Sheer blasphemy.
Call it what you will. I care not for names. But watch. And watch carefully. Listen. Maria, are you still asleep?
Yes. No. I have been sleeping. But now, I am dead.
Froissart, you testify under oath that after her heart and breath had stopped, Madame Valdemar spoke. Is this really true?
I swear to it, Your Honor. I cannot deny that these words issuing from the still, lifeless Maria Valdemar called forth an unutterable, shuddering horror in everyone that was present at her bedside. Even Bulow stood aghast, his face moist with fear.
This is the devil's work. Maria Valdemar is dead.
But it was her voice.
It sounded as if it came from a distance or echoed through a large cavern.
I heard the voice, but there's no pulse, no breath. Your wife is dead.
Perhaps it is my turn to preach a sermon, Bulow. How can you, a mere mortal, presume to say what constitutes life and what does not?
Her breath is stilled. Her heart no longer beats. She's dead.
Bulow, can't you see? This is no time to recite elementary physiology by rote.
She's dead. All the signs prove it.
Signs? What signs? Does a dead person speak? No. It is plain that death has been arrested by the mesmeric process.
Dr. Bulow, why do you insist she is dead? We had so little time for happiness together. Do you begrudge me the faint, small spark of life that yet remains? Maria, my love is yours forever.
Her lips tremble as if she's trying to reply.
Monsieur Valdemar, I have my responsibility. Your wife is dead. Her death must be reported.
Bulow, I know your responsibility well. I have exercised it many times myself with heavy heart. But I cannot see how you dare pronounce Madame Valdemar dead.
Froissart, I told you at your trial in front of the committee that no good would come of this dealing with the devil. I warned you before that you would regret your meddling with life and death. Madame Valdemar has died. I must report it.
Please, Dr. Bulow, I beg of you. You heard her speak. You saw her lips tremble. Can't you accept this miracle?
Suppose I do accept it.
Would you?
I can accept the miracle, but I cannot accept the responsibility arising from it.
Then you will issue no certificate of death?
There will be none issued so long as the flicker of life remains. Good night, gentlemen.
Proceed, Dr. Froissart.
The months rolled by. Monsieur Valdemar overwhelmed me with his gratitude for the prolonging of his wife's life. Madame Valdemar remained in the same condition. Her heartbeat and breath continued absent, but her skin, though cold and lacking blood, neither shriveled nor decayed. Her lips still responded to questions put to her with the slightest quiver. But there were no other evidences of life. Monsieur Valdemar derived much comfort from the presence of his wife and became my devoted pupil. Ernest, what brings you here today?
To see you, and perhaps ask you a few troublesome questions.
We'll save the trouble for last.
No, Emil. My mind is ill at ease.
Nonsense, Ernest. Listen, I have been making great progress lately with my new studies.
Oh, yes?
Yes, indeed. I've been practicing self-hypnosis.
Really?
There's no limit to the possibilities of mesmerism. When I can completely grasp the art of hypnotizing myself, perhaps then I will have come close to my goal. Don't you see? A man can be released from a trance only by the person who put him into it. Now, if I should put myself in a trance, Oh, Ernest, you're not even listening.
Emil, I'm troubled. Sorely troubled.
Your wife remains the same.
Yes, but...
Bulow has been to see her.
Yes, as usual.
He agrees that there is no change.
Yes. Look, Emil. When I came to you 7 months ago in desperation, you did what I asked you to do.
Whatever is the matter with you today, Valdemar?
I'm beginning to realize the horror of my situation.
My dear fellow, it's just that it's new, perhaps strange. But when mesmeric science becomes better known, you will feel more at ease.
This is not just the mood of the moment. I've felt it growing for some time.
You've been listening to Bulow's prattle.
No, Froissart. It was not Bulow who made my Maria appear to me in a vision. Her arms fettered with heavy chains. A piteous, pleading look on her face.
This is hallucination, not science.
Was it hallucination when she cried out, "Ernest, my beloved, for the sake of God, if you love me, release me. I'm neither on earth nor in heaven."
Again, hallucination. You're giving your imagination free rein. Maria is still with you.
This is not Maria. Not my Maria.
I saved all the life that was in her.
You did. And I thought it would be enough. But as day after day goes by, as night follows upon night, I come more and more to the conviction that this is not she. The real Maria lives in my brain, in my heart, and in the love I bear her memory. Not in this corpse with the trembling lip. Froissart, can't you understand? I'm living in a tomb with the body of a stranger.
Valdemar, what would you have me do?
Release her from the trance.
Come, Valdemar. Come, there's no need to be hysterical. The trance has lasted a mere 7 months. Give me a year. That is not much to ask.
I shall be mad or dead before the year is out. You must release her from the trance.
Remember, Ernest, I cannot tell what will happen.
Whatever happens, at least it will be God's will.
Very well. For you, Ernest, for you as my pupil and my friend, I shall try to release Maria tonight.
Dr. Froissart.
Oh, good evening. It's good to be in out of the rain.
They are up in Madame in her chamber.
They?
Monsieur Valdemar and Dr. Bulot.
Oh, what is Bulot doing here?
I beg your pardon, sir.
Oh, nothing. They're waiting for me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Come in, Froissart. We're ready.
Bulot, what are you doing here?
Attending my patient.
I see.
After all, we agree that she is alive, don't we?
Of course. Monsieur Valdemar, I'm sorry. Tonight's work cannot be done in the presence of an unsympathetic spirit such as Bulot's. It will require the most delicate hypnotic adjustment.
Put your mind at ease, Froissart. Not for the world would I be present at tonight's meeting with the devil. That's your responsibility, completely. I leave her in your hands. Alive.
Good. Now that he's gone, I can work. Maria Valdemar, you are in my power. Awake. Awake. Awake from the trance.
Look, her eyelid twitched.
Maria, I command you to raise your arm. Your right arm. Your arm. Move your right arm. Maria. Maria, can you explain what your feelings or wishes are now?
Look, her lips.
For God's sake, quick, quick. Put me to sleep, awaken me, quick. I say to you, I am dead.
Maria Valdemar, waken, be among the living, waken.
Dead. Dead.
See, our whole body's moving.
Rise, awaken, live.
Dead.
No, she lies still. It is too late.
Maria, are you with us?
She does not answer. Her lips tremble no more. Dr. Bulot!
Valdemar, you called?
Bulot! She's gone. She's dead.
Froissart, what have you done?
Done?
She was alive when I left this room. What have you done?
Nothing. I released her from the trance.
Release? Trance? Neither science nor the law recognizes these terms.
What do you mean, Bulot?
That this is the end of your meddling, Froissart. My patient was alive when I left this room. We agreed that she was alive. Now she's dead. I charge you with the murder of Madame Maria Valdemar.
This, Your Honor, is the true and complete story. With full faith in the justice of the court, I shall await the verdict.
Emile Froissart, you have been tried fairly before this court, and you have been judged guilty of the murder of Maria Valdemar. It is now my duty to pronounce sentence. I hereby condemn you to hang by the neck until you are dead.
Dead? They thought they could kill me, but they forgot that it was I, Emile Froissart, who had discovered in mesmerism the secret of immortality. They led me to the gallows. They blindfolded me. They put the noose over my head. But I laughed at them. Yes, laughed at their gallows and their noose. They sprang the trap. The noose tightened round my throat. I quickly put myself in a trance from which I could be released only by myself. Dead. I shall go on living forever.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the immortal tale, the case of Monsieur Valdemar. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
Cask of finest wine is in the catacombs far under the river. Bones are there, too. Human bones. The burial grounds of an old family. And deep in that dark, dank tunnel, there is no one to hear a man begging for his life. Hello, creeps. This is Peter Lorre, opening the doors of the Mystery Playhouse. The works of Edgar Allan Poe usually start one's acquaintance with the literature of mystery. Then, as the years pass by, we are apt to forget that Poe is not only the father of the horror story, but truly the master of them all. And so tonight, we bring you one of the very first and very best. It's a story of revenge that communicates its terror to the listener so directly that hours afterward, your spine will still feel cold. Here, then, is Edgar Allan Poe's The Cask of Amontillado.
The 1,000 injuries of Fortunato I bore as best I could. Neither by word nor deed did I ever give him cause to doubt my goodwill. That was long ago, but I remember it. If ever a man had reason to hate and right to vengeance, it was I, the last of the Montresors. Through a device which the devil himself must have conceived, Fortunato, the noble, high-born Fortunato, had robbed and swindled my aging and sorrowful father of all his vast fortunes. As the last of our gold was transferred to Fortunato's already brimming vaults, my father, broken, humiliated, and plagued with anguish, passed on. As he lay dying, his last words to me were, "Revenge. Revenge, my son, the wrongs done to the Montresors by this fiendish Fortunato." My father had been old and helpless before Fortunato's cruel and evil ways. Now that my father was dead, I would be avenged. I vowed neither by word nor deed would I ever give Fortunato cause to doubt my goodwill. I accepted the small sums of gold which he so graciously offered from time to time, only that I might live to bring upon the noble Fortunato the terrible doom he so richly deserved. Until revenge was mine, I would smile in Fortunato's face, and indeed, For many years, I was smilingly his friend. Scarcely a night passed that Fortunato did not stop beneath my window. So much did he enjoy the opportunity for further injury. Surrounded by his boisterous and giddy friends, he would call drunkenly up to me. Yes, Fortunato?
Come, seashore morning. Lucchese here is opening a cask of sherry in honor of the spree. Put away your sorrows and join us.
No, Fortunato, I cannot. Enjoy yourself without me.
Fool. A fool like you deserves his sorrows. Come, gentlemen, we are fools for even asking him to join us in our fun. Come, the drink, the wine of spring is here. Good night, Montresor. The melancholy Montresor who hasn't even the courage to drink with his fellow townsmen. Good night.
As his drunken prattle faded into the night, I would snuff out my candle and toss fitfully in the dark, feeling afresh each galling wound Fortunato had ever dealt me, and waiting the moment of my revenge. None in the town ever witnessed my wounded pride. None except Amiato, the wine dealer, my one true friend. To him alone did I dare to mention the name of Fortunato. He must, on occasion, have read my troubled mind, for he showed me many kindnesses and much understanding, even at times to Fortunato's disadvantage.
Ah, Signor Montresor.
Good morning, Amiato.
I have a splendid surprise for you today.
Have you, Amiato? And what is that?
A cask of Contigliano, Signor, the finest wine there is. Here, sample it, Signor.
I can't afford anything so rare, Amiato. I only came to call, not to purchase.
It will cost you no more than the kind you usually buy. Drink, Signor.
Well, thank you. That's enough. You treat me too well, Amiato. Beautiful. I scarcely know how to thank you.
Your expression of delight is more gratitude than I deserve. I was extremely fortunate in being able to purchase the last available cask for you.
And there's none meant for Fortunato? You will arouse his anger.
A wine dealer must follow his judgment and his heart. Fortunato prides himself too highly on his knowledge of good wines. I believe you are more skillful, Signor.
Thank you. He and Lucchese opened a cask of sherry last night in honor of the spring.
Then he will be in a bad mood today. Oh, see, he approaches, Signor, and looks as dark as your own ancient vault.
Ah, Fortunato, it's good to see you.
It was just as well, perhaps, that you refused to come last night, Montresor. Lucchese is a fool about wines, a fact of which I am doubly sure after sharing his inferior vintages last night. Ah, I see you have Contigliano, Amiato.
Signor Montresor has it now to a very wise purchase.
Are you joking, Amiato? Where would Montresor find the funds to buy such a rare wine?
That is not my affair, Signor.
So that is what you do with all your money in your solitary evenings, Montresor. Spend them both on Amiato's rare finds. Well, I will wager you've not a drop left to show for it.
On the contrary, Signor Montresor has one of the finest cellars in all the country.
You're too kind, Amiato. But, Fortunato, why not see for yourself? My vaults are always open to you.
Someday I shall. And as for you, Amiato, see that you take better care of my vaults in the future. Good day.
Good day to you, Fortunato.
Fortunato. I shall send the Contigliano to your palazzo before evening, Signor Montresor.
Now my mind was made up. That moment in the wine dealer's shop gave me the beginnings of a plan for which I had long been waiting. Fortunato must visit my wine cellar deep down in the catacombs beneath the home of the Montresors. From the depths of my old misery, I began to devise the details of the plan. Ahead of Fortunato there lay only horror, agony, and damnation. It was about dusk that I finally sought Fortunato out, one evening during the height of his wedding festivities. He was to be married the next day, and gaily he sauntered through the crowd celebrating in his honor. He was dressed in a gay, many-colored costume, and on his head he wore a high, conical cap, topped with brilliant, small, jingling bells. Surrounded by light-hearted friends, musicians, and many curious bystanders, Fortunato was the very center of a magnificent spectacle. It was this scene, both beautiful and terrible, in which I found him.
My dear Fortunato, how remarkably well you look tonight. And how lucky to find you. I've just purchased a cask of Amontillado wine, but, well, I'm afraid I've been cheated.
Montresor? Amontillado? A cask this time like this? This time of year impossible.
Well, this was a strange wine dealer, true, and, well, I was foolish enough to pay him the full Amontillado price without first consulting you in the matter.
Amontillado.
So you told me. But since your friends are waiting for you, I must find Lucchese and ask him to test it for me. If anyone's a connoisseur of good wine, Lucchese is. He will tell me.
Lucchese cannot tell Amontillado from water.
Some people say that his taste is a match for your own.
What? Where is this wine?
In the vaults beneath my home.
Come, let us go.
Go where, Fortunato?
To your vaults. I will test it.
Oh, my friend, no, I won't impose this way on your good nature. You must remain with your friend. Lucchese is not in such great demand, especially tonight.
My friends will not miss me for a few moments. Come on.
No, Fortunato, no, I won't permit it. I see you're afflicted with a terrible cold, and my vaults are so insufferably damp, they're encrusted with wine.
Let us go, Montresor, nevertheless. Cold is nothing. Amontillado. You have been cheated. As for Lucchese, he is no connoisseur of good wine. Only I am worthy to decide. Let us be on our way.
Dashing ahead, half running, half stumbling, shouting his drunken plans, Fortunato pulled me anxiously along the street. I pretended to hold back, to be unwilling to have him leave his friends, yet each moment my eagerness to complete my plan grew greater and greater. Soon we reached my home. There were no attendants there. They'd gone off to help in the celebration. I took from their brackets 2 torches, and giving one to Fortunato, I led him through several suites of rooms and through the archway that led down into the vault. As we descended the long, winding stairway onto the damp ground of the catacombs, I listened enchanted to the delicate bells attached to the conical cap atop Fortunato's bobbing head. Against the somber shadows of the catacomb walls, Fortunato's gay red and yellow costume brought a touch of beauty and lent a moment of holiday to the tiers of rare red and amber vintage. His steps were unsteady, and the bells upon his cap jingled even more as he stumbled down the damp stairs.
The Amontillado, Montresor.
It's farther on. How long have you had that cough, Fortunato?
It is nothing.
Come, Fortunato, we'll go back. Your health is too precious. This dampness is not good for your cough.
No. Let us go on. The wine.
But you'll be ill, and I don't want to be responsible. Besides, there is always the case of...
Enough. The cough is an end thing. It will not kill me. I shall not die of a cough.
True. You will not die of a cough. And I had no intention of alarming you unnecessarily, but you should take care of yourself. Here, a drink of this wine, this fine aged Medoc will defend us from the chilling dampness. Here, allow me to break the neck of the bottle for you. Drink.
I drink to the buried that repose around us.
And I drink to your long life.
Good, excellent. This wine is excellent.
Bring it along with you.
But what about the Amontillado wine?
Oh, that's farther on, good Fortunato. Watch your footing there, my friend. The ground becomes damper and more slippery.
as we descend. The wine and the expectation of making a fool of me through my purchase of the Amontillado sparkled in his eyes, and the bells jingled. We passed through walls of piled bones with casks and broken bottles intermingling into the lowest depths of the cellar. I paused again, and this time seized Fortunato by the elbow. The line, Fortunato. See, it increases. It hangs like moss upon the vault. We're below the river's bed now. Look how the drops of moisture trickle among the bones. Oh, come, Fortunato, we'll go back before it's too late. You're coughing.
It is nothing. No, let us go on.
But first, another bottle of the Medoc. Oh, better. A bottle of this, the Bananos. Here, Fortunato. Here. You break the bottle this time.
Very well. Your taste is truly that of a connoisseur, Montresor. I'm amazed. But come, let us go on.
Be it so.
And hold up your torch, Montresor. I don't care for this blackness.
Be it so, Fortunato. Again, I offered him my arm. He leaned upon it heavily, for the wine I'd been giving him was beginning to have its desired effect. We continued our search for the Amontillado. We passed through a range of low arches. Descended. Passed on. And descending again, arrived at the deepest crypt, where my father had been laid to rest. The foulness of the air was stifling, the dampness all but snuffed out our torches.
Montresor, what other secrets do you have hidden here beneath the world?
Why do you ask, good Fortunato?
This pile of bones here. Now, how does it happen that the bones from this wall are thrown down in this manner? Why is it you have never replaced them, huh? What secret treasures do you keep in this last small recess?
Fortunato, uplifting his dull torch, tried to peer into the depths of the recess and to discover within its circumscribing walls of solid granite the rare and exciting treasure which he drunkenly fancied. But it was in vain. His light was too feeble for him even to see where the solid granite walls ended. Go in, Fortunato. Inside is the cask of wine you wish to taste, the Amontillado.
Amontillado.
Careful, Fortunato. Enter slowly. It's dark in that niche. And the floor is even more slippery.
What's this, Montresor? The niche ends so abruptly.
True, Fortunato, it does. But proceed. I'm coming in with you. No need to be so bewildered.
What are you doing, Montresor? I cannot see.
See, Fortunato? How secure these chains are embedded in the walls. How heavy the iron staples with which they're fastened to the granite. And see this heavy iron lock. The ironsmiths of the last century knew their craft. There, Fortunato. See how snugly these chains fit about your waist. And this key. See, Fortunato, how smoothly it fits the lock. Now, Fortunato, pass your hand along the wall. You cannot help feeling the damp lime that clings to it. Yes, the wall is very damp, but it will keep you from falling. Perhaps you've already had too much wine.
The Amontillado.
True, the Amontillado. Fortunato was still nodding in his drunken stupor. Not yet did he know that he was forever chained to the walls of that black hell.
I stepped outside and busied myself among the pile of bones that lay at the foot of the wall. The bones which he'd been sure had hidden the treasure, which, in truth, they did. Throwing them aside, I soon uncovered a quantity of building stone and mortar and a trowel which I'd hidden there. With these materials, I began vigorously to wall up the entrance of the niche. But for the regular sound of my trowel and an occasional jingle of tiny bells on Fortunato's cap, all was silent. I laid the first tier, and the second, and the third. I'd scarcely begun the fourth tier of the masonry when I discovered that Fortunato's intoxication was wearing off. Fortunato was indeed awakened. With fiendish delight, I sat down upon the bones and I listened to his furious attempts to escape. When at last the clanking subsided, I resumed my work with the trowel, and I finished without interruption the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh tiers. The wall was now nearly upon a level with my breast. I again paused, and holding the torch over the masonwork, I threw a few feeble rays onto the dejected figure within.
Help! Help, for the love of the Almighty, someone come and stop this madman! This fool, this devilish thief! Help! For the love of God!
Louder, Fortunato! You forget how far we are below the riverbed. Perhaps if I shout with you, Fortunato, someone will hear. Together, Fortunato! Louder! Help! Louder still, Fortunato! Help! For the love of the Almighty, someone come and release the noble Fortunato! Help! He needs help so desperately, and there are so many cliffs between him and the rest of the world. Help! Help! Suddenly, my prisoner was still. It was now midnight, and my job was almost ended. I completed the 8th, the 9th, the 10th tiers. I was finishing the 11th and the last. There was only a single stone to be fitted and plastered in. I struggled with its weight, and I placed it partially in its destined position.
A very good joke indeed, Montresor. An excellent jest. We will have many a rich laugh about it tomorrow at the wedding. Over our wine.
Over the Amontillado.
Yes, over the Amontillado. But it's getting late, Montresor. They will be waiting for us at the palazzo. The future lady Fortunato and all my friends. Let us be gone, Montresor. The joke's over.
Yes, Fortunato. Let us be gone.
For the love of the Almighty, Montresor.
Yes, for the love of the Almighty. Fortunato? Fortunato? No answer came. I thrust my torch through the remaining opening and let the light fall within. From inside the crypt there came the only answer Fortunato now could summon. I felt sick on account of the dampness of the catacombs. I hastened to finish my labors. I forced the last stone into its position. I plastered it up. Against the new masonry, I re-erected the old rampart of bones. For half a century, no one has disturbed them. The bones of my fathers rest in peace.
And so ends the first story of a man who killed to avenge his family's honor. Our next production concerns itself with an expert criminologist, a man who prided himself on his claim of never making a mistake. Follow me to the green room, and we'll eavesdrop at rehearsal. This way. Come. Come.
Well, the entire case, of course, was decidedly second rate. You probably know the details.
No, as a matter of fact, I don't. That's why I came here.
Oh?
See, I was in Africa just last week and didn't even know Harrington had been arrested until just before I sailed.
I see. Well, I won't bore you with most of it. Suffice it to say that Ernest West had pushed Harrington in the stock market to a point where Harrington had to stop West or face absolute ruin.
I see.
So Harrington fought West out one night, sought him out at West's home on Long Island, and shot him with a .25 caliber revolver.
Oh?
We found it later in Harrington's safe. Well, there was nothing for the poor man to do but confess.
Harrington was convicted solely on your evidence, Dr. Trevor?
Yes. Otherwise, he might have escaped.
But your entire case was constructed around the revolver.
Yes. And his prompt confession put an end to further investigation. Now, as I was saying...
Dr. Trevor, I'm interested in that revolver. A .25, you say?
Yes, rather uncommon caliber.
Yes, with the handle chipped a bit on the right side.
Yes. How do you know?
It belonged to West's wife, not to Harrington.
What?
Yes. It got chipped when she dropped it on a rock while target shooting in Switzerland. You see, I was with her at the time.
You mean Alice West gave that revolver to Harrington?
Oh, I doubt that, much as she loved him.
You're out of your mind, Gregory.
Not at all. I'm afraid that little .25 caliber revolver probably resulted in the execution of the wrong man.
That's impossible.
The right man, you see, was a woman, Alice West. She and Harrington were in love, and West played dog in the manger and wouldn't divorce her. Alice West is the murderer, not Harrington.
She killed him?
Certainly. There was no reason for Harrington to borrow her revolver. He had quite a little arsenal of his own, as I remember. A .45 caliber would have been his speed.
But Alice West was in Europe at the time of the crime.
Ah, before and after, yes. But I happen to know she was in Montreal the very month the murder was committed, and that isn't far from Long Island by plane.
Go on, Gregory.
Well, to clinch my case, Alice got tight one night in Monte Carlo and told me she was going to kill her husband. I left for North Africa the next day and didn't hear a thing for months. But when I saw the papers, I hadn't any doubts as to who had bumped off Ernest West.
But Harrington's confession.
Oh, Dr. Trevor, that's easy if you know people. The poor ox went to the chair for his lady love. It's been done before, you know.
Gregory, what you say, it's impossible.
Why?
The man was convicted solely on my evidence. I could never make a mistake like that.
Oh, come now. We all make mistakes.
I don't.
Well, it's a shame, but what's done is done.
Obviously, you don't understand, Gregory.
What?
My reputation won't permit mistakes.
Oh.
I simply do not make them, that's all.
Don't worry, Trevor. Your reputation isn't going to suffer. Alice West will be dead of dope inside of 2 years if I'm any judge. And no one else knows you've been wrong just this once.
You do.
Well, yes, but we can forget all about that.
Yes, we must. We must.
Right? So don't fret, Trevor. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yes. I know you will.
Fine. Now, what about another brandy, eh? Oh, yes, over here on the table. Trevor. What are you doing? Trevor!
Yes. Gregory, you'll keep your mouth shut.
You see, the doctor doesn't make mistakes. If he did, it might prove fatal. In our next broadcast, you'll learn how a man committed the perfect crime. Or was it? Now, this is Peter Lorre, closing the doors of the Mystery Playhouse. Good night. Sleep tight. This is the Armed Forces Radio Service.
Mystery in the Air, starring Peter Lorre, presented by Camel Cigarettes.
And it is the sentence of this court that you be hanged by the neck until you are dead. And may God have mercy on your soul.
No, I neither expect nor solicit belief for this wild story. I would be mad to expect it yet. Mad I'm not, and very surely I do not dream, but while there is still time, I don't know why, I feel compelled to report a series of mere household events and their consequences. These events have terrified, have tortured, have destroyed me. Perhaps some are more calm, more logical, but certainly far less excitable than I will be able to explain them. I cannot. I can only tell you the facts, and that I have to do today because tomorrow I die.
Each week at this time, Camel Cigarettes bring you Peter Lorre in the excitement of the great stories of the strange and unusual, of dark and compelling masterpieces culled from the four corners of world literature. Tonight, Edgar Allan Poe's immortal American classic, The Black Cat.
Mystery in the Air, starring Peter Lorre. Brought to you by Camel Cigarettes. Experience is the best teacher. Try a Camel. Let your own experience tell you why more people are smoking Camels than ever before. Give your T-Zone the experience of enjoying a Camel. And see if you don't join the millions of other smokers who say, Camels suit my T-Zone to a T. Your T-Zone, that's T for taste and T for throat, is your true proving ground for any cigarette. See if Camel's rich, full flavor isn't a delightful experience for your taste. If Camel's cool mildness isn't more than welcome to your throat. Try a Camel.
No, believe me, there was nothing, absolutely nothing in my childhood which forecast the terrible events that were to come. No, as a child, I was very gentle. I got along well with everyone, but most I liked animals, yes. All kinds of animals. And then I married quite young, and I was very happy to find that my wife shared my feelings. Very soon we had quite a collection. Oh, we had birds and goldfish. We had a dog and some rabbits, and we had a cat. I'll never forget the day my wife brought it home. Hello. You're home so early.
Look, Charles, look. Look what I brought.
Oh, look at it. Oh, the little kitty. Where did you get it, darling?
Oh, the poor little thing. Some dogs were chasing it, and I just rescued it in time.
Yes,
it was so frightened.
Yes, but it isn't frightened anymore.
Oh, it seems to love you, Charles. Then that's not strange. All animals do.
Yes. Nobody's going to hurt you, kitty, no. How about some milk, huh? Yes. There, you see? Oh, he must have been very hungry.
Yes.
Hey, what's your name, huh?
I don't suppose he has a name. He is so young. I don't think he belongs to anybody.
Well, then we have to give him a name.
You mean we can keep him?
Keep him? What are you talking about? He has no home. We can't turn him out in the streets, can we?
Oh, Charles, I was hoping you'd let him stay.
Of course, but he must have a name. Yes, let's see. Oh, yes, black. Yes, all black. Beautiful. Not a single white mark. Oh,
Oh, I have it. He's as black as the devil. Let's call him Pluto. Huh? Yes, we'll call you Pluto. Well, Pluto grew up to be a remarkably beautiful cat, and of all the animals in our house, he became my favorite and my playmate, yes, and until it all changed, yes, and as the years went on, my character suffered a radical change, and everything changed. Huh? Why? Well, I'm ashamed. I hate to admit it. Through intemperance, yes, through intemperance. And then as drink became more and more necessary to me, I became more and more moody and irritable.
Where are you going?
I don't have to tell you where I'm going.
Oh, Charles, what's happening
What do you mean, what's happening to me?
Well, you never used to go out every night to those vile
Please
places.
stop nagging. Stop it! I go out because I can't stand listening to you. Nag, nag, nag all day long.
I don't know what's come over you.
There. See? Why don't you learn from Pluto? It's only a cat. He doesn't ask me where I'm going. Yeah, that's right. You never do, no. Come here, Pluto. Yes, I like it. Come here.
Be careful, Charles. Don't pick him up like that.
I'm
Don't. You're
not
hurting him.
I never hurt him. Ouch! He bit me. He bit me. You devil. I'll show you. You
Don't,
beast.
Charles. Don't.
I'll show you, beast. Yes, I hate to admit it, but I was so furious I kicked Pluto, and I kicked him again and hard, and well, the next morning I saw that his ear was torn, and I was filled with remorse for what I'd done. From then on, Pluto ran away in terror whenever I approached, and that in turn made me more and more irritated, and in the end it was sheer perverseness, nothing else, yes. Sheer and unexplainable perverseness that made me do what I did. Yeah, I blush to admit it, but one morning I strangled the poor animal. Yeah, I killed it only because I knew that it had loved me and because it had given me no reason for offense. No, I'm offering no excuse. I'm only recounting what happened. Well, in the evening, I went to the inn as usual, and I came home very late, and I fell fast asleep with my clothes on. Then I was awakened suddenly. Hey, what's the matter here?
Charles! Charles, wake up! Charles!
What's the matter?
There must be a fire.
Yes,
I smell smoke.
Good heavens, it's our house.
Oh.
Our house is burning. Come on, darling, come. We'll be trapped. Come on, hurry up. Quick. Oh, the stairs are on fire. Everything.
I can't.
Don't talk, sweetheart. Perhaps I can get you through the flames. Don't breathe, darling. Here's the front door. Here. We made it. We're safe.
Oh, Charles. Look, our house.
Anybody else in there?
No. Nobody else.
It's just as well. Never could get them out now. Are you the owner?
Yes. That was our house.
Well, you haven't got much left then. We can't save it now.
Stand back, everybody. The roof's going to fall in. Stand back. There it goes.
Well, it's
It's down now.
Funny, nothing is left but that one wall in the middle.
Look at it.
What about it?
Well, look at it on the wall.
Hey, that is strange.
What are you talking about? What's strange?
Oh, there on the wall. It's still standing.
Marks on the plaster.
Marks? What marks?
What's the matter? You blind? Right up there on the wall, that black figure.
Yeah.
It looks like a cat.
Yeah, it does. The smoke must have done it, but it certainly does look like a cat.
What looks like a cat?
There, and it's got one floppy ear.
Who's got a floppy ear?
That's really funny.
Funny, huh? It's not funny. It is not funny at all, you hear? I know what it is. You know who it is? Yes, it's Pluto. I recognize him. Yes, there, see? His ear is torn, huh? Oh, you beast. That hideous beast. It's come back to haunt me. Leave me alone. You hear? I can't stand it. I can't.
Get some water, somebody. This man's fainted.
In a few moments, Mr. Peter Lorre will bring us the climax of tonight's Mystery in the Air when Camels present Act 2 of The Black Cat.
Ask a champion the secret of his success, and no doubt you'll get the same answer every time. Experience is the best teacher. Take Rose Gould, for instance, featured aerialist of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. Miss Gould says it took experience to teach her that famous 75-foot dive into space. Mildred O'Donnell, diving champion, thanks experience for her crown. Yes, they all learn from experience, just as smokers everywhere learn from experience about cigarettes. Back in the days of the wartime cigarette shortage, millions of smokers tried brand after brand, smoked whatever they could get. And that experience made people experts in judging the differences in cigarette quality. That was when so many people discovered that Camels suit their T-zones to a T. That Camels give them the rich, full flavor and the cool mildness they've always wanted. As a result,
more people are smoking Camels than ever before.
Experience is the best teacher. Try a Camel yourself.
The black cat is dead, killed by its master. The house is burned to the ground, with everything in it completely destroyed. Now the scene is the almost deserted, candle-lit tap room of a local inn.
Don't you think you'd better go on home, sir? It's getting late.
Home, huh? You should see the terrible place where we're living now.
Yeah, I heard you lost everything in that fire.
Lost everything, yes. I lost everything. I lost my house. I lost everything.
Well, how about that black cat of yours you used to talk about all the time?
Huh?
What was his name?
What was his name? Pluto.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Pluto's gone, too. Oh, I tell you, I miss him. I miss him very much.
Huh. And if you miss him that much, why don't you get another cat?
Give me a drink.
It's getting pretty late, sir. I mean, well, won't your wife be expecting you?
Give me a drink.
Yes, sir. I'll have to fetch another bottle.
Why don't I get another cat, huh? That's what you said. Well, why don't I? No reason I shouldn't. There's no reason to be in the deeps of despair just because of a cat. If I get another cat, maybe I'll be able to forget her. What's that? Oh, there's a cat now. Yes, it's sitting on top of the table. Black cat, huh? That's strange. I've been staring at that table for 5 minutes. I could swear there was no cat on it. Anyway, where did you come from, huh? Oh, you're a beautiful cat, yes. You're just as black as Pluto. Yeah, except you got a splotch of white on your chest. Yeah. That's right, yeah. Oh, yes, come, sit on my lap, huh? Oh, yeah. Kitty, yes, you're a nice kitty. You're a nice cat.
Yeah.
I like...
Here you are, sir.
Where did this cat come from?
Cat? Oh, yeah. A big one, isn't he? I don't know where it came from. Or how it got in, either, for that matter. Never seen it around here before.
Don't know what it belongs to?
No. As far as I'm concerned, it belongs to you if you want it. Can't keep it here. My wife doesn't like cats. Especially black ones.
Don't like cats, huh? How stupid. Say, I want it. Yes, sir. I want it very much. I'll take it home with me right now.
Charles, this is such a wonderful cat. Just since last week, it's made itself so much at home. Oh, you think it'd lived here always.
Yes, I've noticed that.
It reminds me so much of Pluto.
Yes, but this one has a patch of white on its chest. Don't forget that.
Yes, that's right, dear. But I can't help wondering. I wonder what ever became of Pluto. He disappeared the day of the fire.
I know he disappeared, and... well, maybe he knew the house was going to burn down.
Oh, see how it loves you. Rubbing against your leg, just the way Pluto used to.
Pluto! Stop talking about Pluto!
Darling, I didn't mean anything.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dear. I always talk about how much this new cat resembles Pluto. It just makes me nervous. Look, actually, there's hardly any resemblance at all, really. Except that they're both black. This one has a white patch on its chest and...
Oh, the poor thing. Charles, look, his ear is torn.
Huh?
See?
What?
Here under the fur. Oh, I never noticed that before.
Neither did I.
Why, it's just the way Pluto's... I mean...
Go ahead, say it. It's torn, yes. Just the way Pluto's ear was torn when I kicked him, huh? That's it, isn't it?
Well, he must have been in a fight or something. But it's curious we didn't notice it.
Curious, huh? You have no idea how curious it is. No idea. Get that cat out of my sight.
Charles, you're mad.
Get it out.
How can you act that way about a poor dumb animal?
Take it
Especially
out
one
of
that
here.
loved you so much. Oh, now you frightened it, dear.
Away from me, you hear me?
The way you talk, anybody'd think you don't even like the poor
Like
cat.
it, huh? Like it. I hate it. I tell you, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it! Yes, in a short time the cat had been with us. I'd come to look upon it with unutterable loathing. Why, I don't know yet. The more I hated it, the more affectionate it acted toward me. Wherever I went, it followed. Whenever I sat down, it would spring upon my knees and cover me with its loathsome caresses, as if this were not enough. The white patch on its chest, which originally it had been very indefinite in shape, but gradually it assumed a very definite outline. Yes, the unmistakable and ghastly shape of the gallows. A terrible engine of horror, of agony, and of death. I longed to destroy the beast, but I was prevented by an absolute unreasonable dread. I was sure I was losing my mind.
Charles, are you going out again?
Yes, I'm going out. I don't know when I'll be back.
Oh. Before you go, do you suppose you...
Why, what is it?
Will you help me bring up some wood from the cellar?
Why do you always want more wood?
The house is cold. You know I haven't been feeling well. I'm not strong enough to carry it myself.
Strong enough. All right, come on, I'll help you. You might have thought of this before.
Look out!
What? Oh, that's Cat. That's that beast again. It's always under my feet. It tried to trip me on the stairs.
Oh, no, I'm sure it did.
I'll get rid of that beast once and for all. I'll get...
Charles! Put down that crowbar.
Get out of my way.
No, stop.
I say get out of my way. Let go of my arm.
Please, Charles, you
let
don't
go
know what
of
you're
my
doing.
arm. Are you going to let go?
Oh, please.
I said let go. Oh. Why didn't you let me go? Yes, she had fallen dead without a groan. My blind rage, my rage against the cat, I'd struck my wife and killed her. Well, nothing I can do about it now. All I could do was to set myself to the task of concealing the body. Yes, I thought and I deliberated, and then it occurred to me that, yes, in the Middle Ages, they used to wall up their victims, and I determined to do the same thing. Yes, behind the wall in a cellar. I managed to dislodge a section of bricks near the chimney, and in a hole behind them I propped the body. Then I carefully laid the bricks back in their original position, and when I had finished, no one could have told that the wall had been disturbed at all. Well, I could say to myself triumphantly, here at least, my labor has not been in vain. My next step, then, was to look for the beast that had been a cause of so much misery, but then I became aware that it had completely disappeared. 3 days passed, and still my tormentor did not appear. Oh, it's impossible to describe or to imagine the deep sense of my relief. For the first time in months, I slept, yes. I slept. Even with a burden of murder on my soul. Yes, some few inquiries were made about my wife's whereabouts, and a search of the house was conducted, but nothing was discovered. Oh, I finally could look upon my future secure. Yes?
Good day, sir. Sorry to disturb you again, sir.
Oh, it's you, Sergeant. Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, they're still puzzled about your wife's disappearance.
Puzzled, huh? Well, so am I.
Well, some of her friends have been around to the police station.
What's that got to do with me, huh? You've already searched the house twice. What do you want?
Well, I know, sir, but, well, the captain sent me and the constable here to look around just once more, to be sure there's no clues been overlooked. This will be the last time, sir. Only a matter of routine. We won't bother you again.
All right. Come in.
Thank you, sir. Come on, Joe.
Right. Where would you like to look first?
Well, we might as well begin with the cellar.
Cellar, huh? All right, yes. Right down these steps. I'll come with you.
Yes, I always say searching a house is like getting ahead in the world. You start at the bottom.
Yes, I see. It's very funny.
Well, come on, Constable. Get to work.
Right.
While they searched, I folded my arms and watched. As before, they discovered nothing, but as they were about to depart, the glee in my heart was too strong to be restrained. I burned to say but one word, yes, just one word, by way of triumph. And as they started up the steps, I said, say, have you noticed, this is a very well-constructed house, you know. Hey, gentlemen, you're not going, eh? Yes, it's an excellently well-constructed house. You've never seen such a well-constructed house in a frenzy of my bravado upon that very portion of the brickwork behind which stood the corpse of my wife. I rapped with my cane. But may heaven deliver me from the arch-fiend. What was that?
Mother of mercy, what was that?
Wind, probably.
Wind? That's not the wind. Came when you hit this wall here.
Whatever it is, it's behind these bricks, Sarge.
Yeah. Here, take this crowbar and knock that wall down.
Right.
Wait a minute, you...
Keep quiet,
you can't do this.
Wait a minute. Where are you going?
Upstairs.
You stay right here.
Hey, this is new plaster. It hasn't even had time to set yet.
Ah, pull it down.
Right. Here she comes. Look out.
Oh. There's what we're looking for, all right. His wife's body.
What's that horrible-looking thing sitting on her head?
It's the cat.
How did that cat get in there?
I know how it got in there. Yes, I know. I must have walled it up in a tomb, and I never knew it, no. Look at that red mouth. Those burning eyes. You hideous, you beast, you monster, you are the devil. You made me a murderer. Now for 3 days you've been in there, waiting to send me to the gallows. Well, the hangman will get me. Yes, I hope you're satisfied. I hope you're satisfied.
Each week, the makers of Camel cigarettes send free Camels to servicemen's hospitals from coast to coast. This week, the Camels go to Veterans Hospital, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, U.S. Army McCornack General Hospital, Pasadena, California, U.S. Naval Hospital, Houston, Texas, U.S. Marine Hospital, Baltimore, Maryland, and Veterans Hospital, Dayton, Ohio.
When 3 leading independent research organizations asked 113,597 doctors living in every state of the Union, what cigarette do you smoke, doctor? The brand named most was Camel.
According to a nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
Next week, Mystery in the Air, starring Mr. Peter Lorre, brings you an adaptation of one of our star's greatest motion pictures, Crime and Punishment, based on the book by Fyodor Dostoevsky, with a special musical score composed and conducted by Paul Barron.
Mr. Pipe Smoker, here's proof for you. Proof that Prince Albert is a satisfying smoke. More pipes smoke Prince Albert than any other tobacco, naturally. Prince Albert is a mellow, mild tobacco with a rich, full flavor. Choice tobacco specially made for smoking pleasure. Specially treated to ensure against tongue bite. Crimp cut to burn slow, smoke cool. See if one pipe full of PA doesn't convince you that Prince Albert is your favorite, too. Beginning 2 weeks from tonight, Thursday, October 2nd, Camel's comedy quiz, The Bob Hawke Show, will be heard at this time over these same NBC stations.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company. Are you upset with today's headlines? Worried about the high cost of living? Want to get away from it all?
CBS offers you Escape.
You are the friend of a man living in death, confidant of a ghoul, witness to a nameless terror. You are a guest in the House of Usher.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully plotted to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to a gloom-shrouded moor and a house where dread holds sway, as Edgar Allan Poe recounts it in his famous story, The Fall of the House of Usher.
It is with some regret, but I believe advisable that I identify myself only as a friend of Roderick Usher. Certainly the last and perhaps the only friend of that unhappy man. Having only one sister, he was the last male descendant of the ancient house of Usher. Roderick had been one of my boon companions in boyhood, but many years had elapsed now since our last meeting. And so as I held his letter in my hand, not yet opening it, I reflected with no little sadness upon the devious fates that chart our courses and drive old friends away from one another. But then a sudden feverish and nostalgic curiosity laid hold of me, and with fingers made clumsy by their eagerness, I tore open the letter and read,
My dear friend, my need of you has so far outgrown my pride that I'm going to request a favor which I realize full well may involve considerable inconvenience to yourself. For some time past, I have been suffering from an acute bodily illness intensified by serious mental oppression, if I may so call it. A horror which looms over me, a horror grown so great I dare no longer face it alone. And so, in all humility, and for the sake of years gone by, I beseech you to come to me at once, here to the family estate in the north. Should events conspire to prevent your coming, then only God may know the consequences. Your friend in desperation, Roderick Usher.
And so it happened that at the end of a dull, dark, and soundless day in the middle of October, I found myself as the shades of evening drew on, within view of the grim and melancholy House of Usher. I confess that the first sight of the house, the fungus-covered walls of stone thrusting their crumbling ramparts against the darkening sky, rising out of the sullen, sluggish waters of the black tarn at their base, the bleak and vacant windows staring blindly, the bone-white trunks of decaying trees, these things filled me with a nameless and desolate terror, so that I reined in my horse and sat trembling, half fearing to cross the wooden bridge that led over the waters of the moat and up to the entrance of the House of Usher. Then impatiently I shook off this strange feeling of dread, and was an instant later clattering over the wooden bridge and onto the courtyard. I dismounted quickly, tossed my reins to the silent lackey who approached, strode across the gravel and up to the massive wooden portal, the door of the House of Usher. Good afternoon. My name is...
I know. You're the friend of Master Roderick. Please come inside, sir.
Thank you. But may I inquire how it happens you know me?
You have been expected for some time, sir.
Yes, true. But also I'm a stranger to you and could be some other visitor.
That you could be anyone other than the friend whom Master Roderick expects, sir, would be impossible. You see, no one else would ever come to this house.
Then I followed his stealthy footsteps through many dark and intricate passages. My earlier foreboding heightened and was made fearful by the somber aspect of the hallways by which we passed. The many unused rooms reaching out with their vast emptiness like some hideous jungle creeper. But at length we stood before the door of the master's studio, and there the servant left me, departed and left me to go in alone. The man across the room, half reclining on the couch, his back turned toward me, did not hear the opening of the door. For the space of several heartbeats, I saw only the deathly pale and ghastly sunken features of a stranger. Then only with difficulty could I recognize, behind that mask, my boyhood friend. For surely, under light of heaven, no man had ever before so terribly altered in so brief a time as had Roderick Usher.
Oh, my friend, you've come at last. Thank God you did come.
Oh, Roderick, did you not know I would? Could you not be sure that no long years would ever dim the friendship we shared in youth?
So many things have dimmed. Youth. It seems so long ago. But now you're here, and we'll find it, relive it all over again, every glorious moment of it. And all these shadows, all these gibbering phantoms that haunt me, they'll be driven out. And then the sun will shine again, and we'll be young again and relive...
Roderick!
But forgive me, my friend. My excessive joy at the sight of you after so many years drives me into a frenzy of talk. How many years has it? No matter. It is enough that you are here, and brought with you all the lost, all the happy days of my boyhood.
But I'd expected from your letter to find you in serious straits indeed. Instead, you seem in the best of spirits.
You have the right to know. But in all frankness, here in your presence, I find it difficult to credit importance to those things which only yesterday filled me with terror. True, I've been ill. A nervous affliction, something in the nature of a family weakness, probably. It has affected me with a morbid acuteness of the senses, such that quite often the least sounds and odors and colors become irritating beyond endurance. Then I've eaten but little, as you can see.
But surely you've retained the services of a physician.
A physician? Oh, yes, of course. He calls almost daily, though it is more often Madeline that he attends. You remember my twin sister, Madeline? For her I fear more greatly than for myself. Even today she's taken to her bed, and I have no doubt will never rise from it again.
Oh, a tragedy. The sympathies of my heart go out to you.
Oh, but leave it for the present. Leave it to dream of all those happy days we left so far behind. Everything will be different now that you're here. Do you remember when we were 12?
But the happy forgetfulness which Roderick found in my coming was short-lived, and in a few days he had sunk into a morose torpor, from which only occasionally with frantic difficulty could he reach the joy of our first few hours of meeting. More often his mental apathy was broken by bursts of vicious temper and violent ill humor, fits I could only excuse on the basis of his illness. And that illness began in my mind to assume a most mysterious character. Being unable to divine its true nature from Roderick's hesitant offerings, I took the liberty of questioning the physician a few days later when I chanced to encounter him in a hallway.
Yes, she's resting as well as might be expected.
But she continues to decline. Is that not correct, Doctor?
That would seem to be the case.
And the malady, the illness which has stricken her, is it the same as that which affects her brother Roderick?
I may venture that it is.
Might I inquire the nature of this illness?
As to that, I am unable to say.
You imply, then, that I have no right to the information?
Not at all. I am confessing to you quite simply, sir. I do not know what afflicts Madeline and Roderick Usher.
And so a week passed. A week in which the sullen, leaden skies darkened into deeper oppressiveness, in which Roderick's deathly pallor and creeping mental dissolution grew more apparent. A week in which the monstrous atmosphere of this ancient mausoleum began to crawl insidiously within my own consciousness, stirring into life a formless, unknown dread. Then one evening, we were sitting in the vaulted studio, while the first shadows of night began to flow together into pools of darkness. Roderick had been unusually troubled during the day, and had been trying to find some solace by playing on the violin. Of a sudden, there came a knock upon the door.
Stop it! Stop that infernal pounding, do you hear? Do you wish to drive me completely mad? Open the door and come in, come in!
It's the doctor.
Well, what is it? What do you want?
Master Usher, I regret that I must say this, but it is my sad duty to inform you that your sister Madeline is no longer living.
Madeline? My sister? Then she's dead?
She breathes no more.
Dead? And perhaps, my dear doctor, you can tell me what caused her death.
Unfortunately, I can only take refuge in the term heart failure.
Heart failure? Yes, of course. Very well, doctor. If you'll be kind enough to wait, I'll come down directly and discuss the arrangement.
At your service. I bid you good afternoon, gentlemen.
Roderick, I assure you of my deepest sympathy.
You do. Your deepest sympathy. The doctor regrets his sad duty. Are you fools, both of you fools?
I don't understand.
Haven't you seen it yet? Can you not feel it about you? The horrid, monstrous, brooding spirit of this accursed house. Can't you hear its evil laughter as it lurks in the hallways and grows fat upon the soul? My dead sister.
Roderick.
Can't you see that it matters nothing to me that she's dead? That I myself walk but a few steps behind her into the same shadows of hell? Can't you sense those hideous tentacles, even now, reaching out for me? For me, who now, the last living, if it be living, the last living descendant of the accursed house of Usher.
Such was the passing of Madeline Usher, once living, now dead. And her very death, untimely in its aspects, bore to my trembling soul a portent of events yet more hideous, more horrible, and yet to come. At a later hour of that same sad night, Roderick came into my chamber to voice an intention so morbidly unnatural that for the moment I could only feel that his tottering reason had at last failed him entirely.
Then you refuse?
But Roderick, this is madness.
I tell you, before this night is over, the coffin body of my sister shall rest in the vault beneath this house, and if you will not help me, I shall do it myself.
But why? Why?
I could not stand to think of her buried out there in the dark graveyard, alone among the dead.
Roderick, she too is dead.
It's fantastic how little we know of death or of life. The doctor says she no longer breathes.
She is dead.
She was so lovely, was my sister.
Roderick.
I must keep Madeline near me.
Nothing but evil would come of such an act.
I can trust no one. But you, not even the physician himself. He hates us because he can't discover what it is that kills us. Even he might steal the body of my beloved sister, that he might learn our secret. You understand, don't you, my friend?
Yes, Roderick. Yes, I understand. And so it came about. Near midnight, we two alone made our way to an upper chamber of the house. And taking up the black coffin between us, in the shuddering light of candles, we walked the tortuous passageways, slowly descended the curving stairs of stone, passed beneath the moldy level of the earth, forced open a massive and age-rusted door of iron, and stood at last, with our ghastly burden, in a subterranean, dank and musty crypt, underneath the House of Usher.
Over here, my friend, on these trestles. Now, a trifle higher with the head. There. Oh, may you sleep in peace and dream, sweet sister, from I who tread the same path soft behind you.
Come, Roderick. The thing is done.
Oh, wait. Stay a moment. We've not yet affixed the coffin lid. See? I've left it loose so it can be turned back.
No, I beg you.
A last farewell, no more. Look. Is she not beautiful?
Yes, she was very beautiful.
Was? Yes, of course. The look of her confused me. But do you not see it, too? The warm glow of the cheeks, the eyes shut softly, those lips half parted. Does it not seem that she may rise up and speak to us at any moment?
This gruesome place inspires those morbid fancies.
Morbid fancies? That now dead she seems to live, and living seems already dead?
Man, you seek out madness. You court it with your very thoughts.
And if I do, what matters? What value can there be in reason without the hope of life? Dead, you say to me, she is dead. Upon what certainty? Why not with equal reason say instead she lives? And that I, the last of Usher, am the one who is already dead.
I prevailed upon my friend at last to leave that mournful place. And so with grim finality we secured the ebon lid, took up our flickering candles, and departed from the crypt, leaving it alone with its darkness and death. The ponderous portal closed behind us, and then my soul for one brief instant felt the dread and awful meaning of eternity. There followed then a week of such dreary gloom and melancholy that my own spirit quavered at the menace of the nameless thing enshadowed in that house. By perceptible degrees, the living soul of Roderick Usher flickered lower. More ghastly grew his pallor, more tremulous the extremity of his terror. The 8th day following the death of Lady Madeline fell upon the last day of grim and gray October, and brought with it, as the curtains of night descended, the fitful breath of a rising tempest, uneasy gusts of sodden rain, and the sound of sullen, thunderous rumbles born of the dim flares of sheet lightning somewhere behind the lowering pall. I retired at a late hour, but found sleep impossible. At length, overpowered by some strange presentiment of evil, I found my reposeful inaction no longer endurable. And so I arose, threw on my clothes in haste, and fell to pacing the floor of my darkened chamber. Then in one instant, a soft sound in the blackness froze my steps in paralysis of terror. The latch of my chamber door was being lifted from without. Oh, who is it? Who is it, I say?
It is I, Roderick.
Oh, Roderick. What are you doing up and about at this hour, in pitch blackness? Wait, let me light the candles.
No, I am quite used to darkness. I heard your footsteps and knew that you must be awake, even as I was. But can it be that you've not seen it?
I don't understand you. I've seen nothing.
Then stay. You shall see it, even as I've seen it for these past 2 hours. Wait. I'll throw open the casement window. There. Look!
It was indeed a tempestuous yet sternly beautiful night, and one wildly singular in its terror and in its beauty. The exceeding density of the clouds which hung so low as to press upon the turrets of the house did not prevent our perceiving the velocity with which they flew careening from all points against one another. We had no glimpse of the moon or stars, but terrible to behold, the under surfaces of the huge cloud masses, as well as all terrestrial objects immediately around us, were glowing in the unnatural light of a faintly luminous and clearly visible phosphorescence, which hung like a shroud about the mansion itself.
You see, my friend, tonight the thing grows bolder, gathers strength from the storm and from the dead soul it's eaten.
No, Roderick, you must not look at this. Here, I shall close this window and pull these curtains. And now, candlelight. Such darkness is the very mother of evil fear. There. Now come, sit here. Suppose I read aloud from some book or another.
As you wish.
I presume it matters little which. Oh, here. Here is a volume of The Mad Tryst by Canning. Will it serve?
As you said, it matters little.
I've always found the scene to be quite entertaining, wherein Ethelred dreams of fighting a dragon. Now, let's see. Oh, yes. Here it is. And so Ethelred waited no longer to hold parley with the hermit who mocked him from inside the hut, but feeling the rain upon his back and fearing the rising of the tempest, uplifted his axe and quickly made a hole in the plankings of the door for his gauntleted hand. And now, pulling sturdily, he so cracked and ripped all asunder that the noise of the dry and hollow-sounding wood alarmed and reverberated throughout the forest.
Why do you stop?
Why, that's strange. I fancied I just heard the very sound I read about.
Let us say it was caused by the storm. Pray continue.
Oh, yes, the storm. Of course. But Ethelred, upon entering the door, was amazed to perceive no sign of the evil hermit, but instead a dragon of prodigious and scaly demeanor, which sat on guard before a shield of shining brass. And Ethelred uplifted his axe and struck the head of the dragon, which fell before him with a shriek so horrid and harsh, like whereof was never before. What sound is that?
Sound? The shriek of a dragon, my friend. Read on.
Very well. And now the champion, bethinking himself of the shield of brass, approached across the silver floor to where the shield hung upon the wall. But the shield, not waiting for his coming, loosed and fell upon the silver floor with a mighty great... And, Roderick, I tell you something moves within this house. That sound, it reverberated through the very walls. Can you tell me now you did not hear it?
Hear it now? Oh, yes, I hear it and have heard it. Long moments, hours, many days have I heard it. Yet I dared not speak.
But why?
Do you not know we put her living in the tomb? I tell you now, I heard her first feeble movements in the coffin many, many days ago, and I felt then it mattered little. But Now she comes to upbraid me for my haste. And that last dread sound, yes, I heard it, the opening of the metal door to the crypt beneath the house. Now she comes here. Have I not heard her footsteps on the stair? Do I not distinguish the heavy and horrible beating of her heart? Madman that I am, I tell you that she now stands without that door. But even now she opens it.
There in the flickering light of candles, in the gloom and curtained doorway, stood the shrouded body of Lady Madeline. For one shuddering instant she swayed there. Then as Roderick uttered a single piteous cry, she fell upon him in violent and now final death agonies, and bore him to the floor, a corpse. From that chamber and from that mansion, I fled aghast out the massive portal over the causeway into the night. Suddenly there shot along the path a wild light, and I looked back in heightened terror, for the vast house and its shadows were alone behind me. The baleful gleam came from the setting full and blood-red moon, which now shone vividly through a widening crack in the walls of the house itself, and even as I gazed, its vision opened rapidly. There came a fierce breath of the tempest. The entire lunar orb burst at once upon my sight. My brain reeled as I saw the mighty walls rushing asunder. There came a long, tumultuous, shouting sound like the voice of 1,000 waters. And the dark, deep tarn at my feet closed sullenly and silently forever over the pitiful ruins of the ancient house of Usher.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with Paul Frees as the narrator, Ramsey Hill as Roderick Usher, and Sheridan Hall as the physician. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Fuhrer. Next week...
You are the victim of a poorer man, pursued from the west coast of Africa to the west end of London by a dead man's head, which grins at you upside down.
Next week, Escape, with H.G. Wells' gripping story, Pollock and the Poorer Man. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when CBS again offers you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This is the NBC University Theater, presenting another in our series of radio plays based on the world's great stories. Tonight, The Purloined Letter by Edgar Allan Poe, starring Adolphe Menjou. The tales of Edgar Allan Poe are largely a blend of the mysterious, the mystical, and the macabre, with the accent perhaps on the latter quality. And yet, when he wished, Poe could forget his intense preoccupation with the element of horror and tell a story of pure mystery in such absorbing fashion that he can truly be called the first great writer of modern detective fiction. Tonight we present Adolphe Menjou as Detective Auguste Dupin in the classic story of Parisian intrigue, The Purloined Letter by Edgar Allan Poe.
This is Edgar Allan Poe. The tale I wish to relate to you now is another instance of the work of my amazing friend, Monsieur Auguste Dupin. You will, I have no doubt, remember Dupin as the man who solved the grisly murders in the Rue Morgue and that of Marie Roget. I will spare you tonight any such further instance of tragic death. But even in this case of which I speak now, I cannot but feel that the solution at which Dupin arrived would have been beyond the powers of any other man I have ever known. But to begin the tale at what seems the logical place.
My dear Poe, would you mind stirring up the fire a bit?
Not at all. This autumn weather gets into one's bones.
Ah, that is better. Also, it gives me more light to enjoy the smoke of my pipe.
We could light the lamp, but you always say you think better in the dark.
Well, light it if you like, by all means. I think we may be having a visitor soon. And besides, why do you suppose I have me to think?
Your guess was right about the visitor. Who is it?
Well, I imagine it is Monsieur le Préfet. He has not been here for a month. It would take him that long to make up his mind to appeal to me again.
And that's why you should be thinking. This affair of the Purloined Letter, it's completely baffling.
You think so?
Don't you? I'm sure Her Highness the Princess wouldn't share your calmness, nor will Monsieur le Préfet.
We shall see. Good evening, Garon.
Good evening, Dupin, Monsieur Paul.
Good evening, Monsieur le Préfet.
Sit down, Garon, sit down. We haven't seen you here of late. Have you come on special business?
Why, no, nothing in particular.
Well, we shall have a nice chat. Everything going well with our gallant officers of the police?
Quite well.
But, Monsieur Guérin, what of the letter? Have you found it?
Ah, Monsieur Poe, you force me to speak. I am a tormented man. I am quite at the end of my rope.
No success yet?
None. And my reputation, I shall lose my office if I fail.
There was also a large reward, I believe you said.
Tremendous. I would be rich, but I shall never get it.
I am not so sure, Garon. I think you might.
No. I have done everything. I shall be ruined. Tell me, Dupin, what shall I do?
Do? Why, take advice, to be sure.
I assure you, Dupin, I am perfectly willing to take advice and pay for it. I would give 50,000 francs to the man who could help me.
50,000, eh?
My personal check.
Well, then, let us consider. We will take this case back to its very beginning and examine it. It began, we will recall, the princess.
Here is a letter, Your Highness. It has just been brought by messenger.
Thank you, Marie. Who is it? Marie, will you go into the wardrobe and find my other dancing slippers? These pain me.
At once, Your Highness. I bring them right away.
My most dearly beloved, I am here at my estate, knowing that it is wisest, but I am as one in exile. Every moment I spend away from you is an aeon spent in purgatory. Why does he write this way? It is too dangerous. I remember so clearly the look in your eyes on the day I left the court.
Perhaps
Philippe
Your Highness...
and de Leon.
Yes, my dear wife. Has something happened to upset you?
Why, no, only you startled me.
As I predicted, Your Highness, the princess is not yet ready. Perhaps we might have a few more words.
There is nothing more to be said, de Leon. I shall never agree to this tax you propose. It is robbery. Louise, make haste. You know how you had to miss the first dance at a ball. What was that you were reading as we came in?
Nothing. It's only an unimportant letter from some nobody in the provinces.
Well, then, put it down and make ready.
Yes, of course.
I perceive that our princess will be once again the loveliest lady at the ball.
You are too flattering, Comte de Leon.
Not at all. Your Highness must pardon my intrusion into your boudoir, but I was in the middle of a discussion with your honored husband.
Apologies do not sound well from you, Monsieur le Comte.
In my humble position as Minister of Finance...
In your humble position as Minister of Finance, De Leon, you contrive never to give me a moment's peace.
But since your Highness opposes me on every measure...
Enough of that, De Leon. You will handle the matter exactly as I have ordered.
Very well, then. I will make a memorandum to that effect, lest I forget. By the way, Your Highness, you will not mind if I scribble it on the back of this piece of waste paper from the table?
Monsieur le Comte.
Oh, 1,000 pardons. I thought you said the note was worthless. It is perhaps something Your Highness wishes to treasure?
Why, no, of course not.
Ah, good. Well, au revoir. I trust we shall meet again at the ball. Your Highness is enjoying the party?
And why should I not be?
That is for Your Highness to know.
De Leon, I demand that you return to me that letter.
Letter? What can Your Highness mean?
The letter you stole from my boudoir an hour ago.
Oh, that letter. Au contraire, Your Highness, I shall treasure it. In future, you might suggest to a certain gentleman that he learn to disguise his hand when addressing such missives. One has eyes, after all.
I shall accuse you to my husband as a thief.
I doubt it. You could have done so in the boudoir, while His Highness stood right there. Ah, no, Your Highness, you must not call me a thief. That is an ugly name for a man who merely watches his opportunity.
Opportunity of what?
It is possible that your husband's mind might be changed in the matter of this new tax.
He will never agree to it.
I say he might, if you were to suggest it to him.
Your scheme will fail. My husband knows that I feel as he does in these matters. He will know that something is wrong.
Something? But he will not know what. It would be a pity for all parties should he find out, n'est-ce pas?
It was nearly a year thereafter, Monsieur le Préfet, that you honored me with your first call. Monsieur Poe and I had been sitting here talking of political events, the significance of which we did not at the time understand. You arrived and told us of the purloined letter.
The business, as you see, is very simple, and I've no doubt we can manage it ourselves. But I thought you and Monsieur Poe might well like to hear of it, Dupin, since it is so very odd.
Simple and odd?
Why, yes. In fact, we've been puzzled because the whole thing is so simple. And yet it baffles us. And the reward offered is prodigious.
Perhaps the whole thing is a little too plain.
You and your strange notions, Dupin. But now to the matter. It is clear that the letter is still in De Leon's possession.
How do you know that?
Why, if he had used it or disclosed its contents, he would no longer have his power over the royal personage whose honor he threatens.
Poe and I were just speaking of the rapid ascendancy of De Leon's faction in the court. This explains it.
You proceeded, then, on the assumption that the minister still has the letter.
Precisely. Now, for the last 3 months, the minister has often been away from home all night. In that time, my men and I have completely ransacked his home. It is impossible that we should have missed it.
He could not, I suppose, be carrying it with him.
Out of the question. We have posed as robbers and waylaid him twice to search him.
Well, he must have expected that. What was the appearance of this letter?
Oh, an ordinary one. Except, of course, for the small red crest embossed on it. Folded twice over, the address in a large, bold, masculine hand, the paper heavy.
Very good.
Tell me, Garam, how have you gone about searching the house?
Well, we took our time. We looked everywhere. We searched the drawers. To us, of course, there is no such thing as a secret drawer. We probed the cushions with needles, took the tops from the tables.
Why that?
It is possible, Monsieur Poe, to bore a hole in a table leg or the top of a bedpost and hide something inside.
But the legs of the chairs. You didn't take all the chairs apart.
We did better. We examined the jointings of every piece of furniture with a microscope. The smallest bit of gimlet dust would have looked as large as an apple.
You looked behind the mirrors, of course?
No, the mirrors, the carpets, the paper on the walls, the binding of the books, everything.
Then you're making a mistake. The letter is not on the premises. He has sent it away.
I fear you may be right.
Nonsense. Of course it is there. He would have to be able to produce it at a moment's notice.
But, Dupin, what shall I do?
Look again.
That is perfectly useless.
It is the only advice I have to give you.
Very well, then. I'll go again tonight. And you, too, shall come along.
Take Monsieur Poe if you wish. But I fear the minister has placed the letter not merely out of sight, but out of mind. I shall search for it in my own mind, right here.
Softly now, Monsieur Poe. The servants sleep at a distance, but we must take no chances.
Of course.
The library is here. Is that you, Jacques?
Oui, Monsieur le Préfet.
Find anything new?
Some few parcels, Monsieur. I was just coming to them.
Well, get about it.
Oui, Monsieur le Préfet.
Come, Monsieur Poe. You and I, we shall re-examine the pages of the larger books on these shelves.
Well, let's begin then. Can't you open that lantern another inch?
Impossible. We must have secrecy. Besides, could you not see a letter if it were lying in a book?
I should like to be able to look around.
One does not need to see to search. Jacques, the parcels.
Nothing in the first, Monsieur le Préfet.
Your men are indeed skillful. I had forgotten there was anyone in the room but ourselves. Oh, look out!
These, Monsieur Poe, I beg of you to be careful.
I'm so sorry. The book slipped out of my hand.
Again, I must remind you how important it is that no one realize we are here.
That's strange.
What is it?
This book I just dropped. It's a book of his own verses.
Whose own verses?
The Comte de Leon. I didn't know he was a poet.
Bah, the Comte de Leon is a fool.
What makes you say that?
And what is a poet if not a fool? I tell you, if de Leon were really clever, I should have had him a long time ago. It must be through sheer idiocy that he escapes me. The devil take him and his foolish verses.
So Garand pronounced all poet fools, eh? I might well be offended at that if I chose. I regard my own poetry as being quite as good as De Leon's.
The poetry surprised me, frankly. Somehow I'd always had the impression that De Leon had written a learned text on differential calculus, that he was known as a mathematician, not a poet. I suppose he has a brother who is the mathematician.
You are mistaken. De Leon is both poet and mathematician. A very versatile mind.
But I'm really puzzled, Dupin. If Garand and his men really searched the whole place the way we did that room last night...
I assure you that they did. But they have considered only their own ideas of ingenuity.
How do you mean?
I mean that all this boring and probing and looking through microscopes is only an exaggeration of their usual tactics. Our friend Garand has the mind of a mathematician himself. And this mind naturally considers the minister a fool because he is renowned as a poet.
Then he must think the same of you.
Perhaps my doggerel has not come to Garand's attention. Which reminds me, will you walk with me to the bookseller at the corner? There's a little book of verse I have been meaning to get.
The next corner? There's no bookseller there.
My dear Poe, are you totally blind? The sign over his shop fills half the street. Look for yourself.
Oh, that's odd. I must have passed along here a dozen times and never noticed that sign. Of course I'll walk with you.
Hello, what is this?
Children. Oh, they seem to be after that small boy. Why, this is the small son of my concierge. Pierre, come here.
Mr. Poe, make them go away.
Now, come now, Pierre. They'll not hurt you.
But they call me a thief because I have all their marbles.
Have you stolen them?
But of course not. It is a game, monsieur. One holds marbles in his hand. The other guesses whether the number of marbles is even or odd. If you are right, you win one. If you are wrong, you lose one.
And you won all your friends' marbles at this game?
Oui, monsieur. And now they say I cheat.
I do not see how it would be possible to cheat. But you must have some principle of guessing.
Yes, there is a way. I have only to know how clever the other boy is.
Aha.
Perhaps the first time I guess odd and lose. If he is very stupid, he thinks I will change my second guess to even. But I guess odd again, and of course I win.
What if the other boy is not such a simpleton?
Then he will start to change from even to odd. But he will realize that this is too simple a move to fool me. And so he remains even.
Excellent. You know, I should like to test this theory. I have some coins here. Let us assume we have already played this game once, and the coins I held the first time were an even number. Well, what do I hold now? Come, why don't you make your guess?
I do not know you, monsieur. You must tell me first how clever you are.
I assure you, Pierre, Monsieur Dupin is the cleverest man in the world.
Well, you exaggerate somewhat, Poe. But come, Pierre, what do I hold now?
An odd number, monsieur.
Well, Dupin?
Your record is unbroken, Pierre. How did you guess?
Monsieur Poe said you were very clever. Therefore, you would try to fool me by doing exactly what a very stupid boy would do. By simply changing from even to odd. You see, it's easy.
As you say, Pierre. As you say, it is easy. Look here. Take these 3 francs and buy more marbles for your friends. It will put you back in their good graces. Run along now.
Ah, merci, monsieur, merci. Au revoir, monsieur.
Now, there is a child who does just what Garand cannot do. He thinks not of how he would do a thing, but of how his opponent would do it.
Well, that's all very well, but what if you fail to measure your opponent's intellect correctly?
That is exactly the point. Garand begins with the assumption that De Leon is merely a poet and therefore a fool. Whereas, we know that the minister is both poet and a mathematician. Consider now, as a mathematician, he understands the mathematical mind of our friend Garand. But as a poet, De Leon would have enough imagination to hide it somewhere else.
But where and how?
Well, perhaps he has concealed it by not concealing it at all, by making it so obvious that... Monsieur Poe, wait. You have walked right under the bookseller's sign without seeing it again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, then, suppose we go in, Dupin.
Well, never mind the bookseller. I must leave you now.
But I thought...
have you a pair of dark spectacles?
Dark spectacles? Yes. Here you are.
Excellent. And now, mon ami, farewell.
But where are you going?
I have just recalled a most urgent appointment. I am going to play marbles, Monsieur Poe, with the Minister of Finance.
Well, Dupin, welcome. Sit down, won't you?
Good morning, Monsieur de Leon. I'll just sit over here by the fire if you do not mind.
Will you have coffee?
Oh, thank you, no. I breakfasted some time ago.
How I envy you men of energy who rise early. For myself, I think I was lazy in my cradle.
One would of necessity get up ahead of you in the morning, de Leon.
Still a wit, I see, Dupin. But to what do I owe the honor of your visit?
Why, to nothing. I was merely passing by.
Well, I am delighted to chat with you. Tell me, how does the world treat you? I trust those dark spectacles are not evidence of any difficulty?
No, merely fatigue. I find they enable me to see more clearly. As you know, that is important in my profession.
Quite. Yes, it seems to me I have heard of your clever work in connection with some rather notorious murders.
I was perhaps able to help.
It must have been a relief to our friend, Monsieur le Préfet, having you to do his thinking for him. A pity you have never been given a place at court. Such cleverness as yours would do well.
Well, I consider one clever fellow to be quite enough for any court.
If that is a compliment, it is too incorrect to be clear. Do you care for snuff?
No, thank you. I have my own snuff box right here.
Excellent snuff. I recommend the brand.
I am unfortunately a creature of habit. I have always used the same brand. Charming library you have here, De Leon. Are you as ardent a collector as ever?
I pride myself that no man in France has a better collection of verse and manuscripts. Have you ever seen my original of Crébillon's Après?
I must be under the pain of reminding you how you snatched that manuscript out from under my nose, just as I was preparing to add it to my own collection.
My apologies. I'm afraid the auctioneer was a personal friend of mine.
Friend of mine, I thought. Your friendship, it seems, was worth more to him. Well, I shall repay you one day.
I shall be on the lookout. Are you sure you will not take some refreshment?
Quite sure. I am leaving directly.
It has been a pleasure to see you, Dupin. I trust you will come soon again. It is always an honor to entertain a fellow poet and an old friend.
Dupin, you've been sitting with that pile of writing paper for an hour. What on earth are you doing?
Merely amusing myself, my dear Poe.
I wish your amusement didn't call for the burning of so much sealing wax. I'm quite stifled with the odor.
I shall be finished directly. No, by the by, if you are not occupied tomorrow, mon ami, I wish you would stop by the minister with me. I must return there. This morning, by the merest accident, I left a gold snuff box on his library table.
My dear Dupin, I am delighted that you took me so promptly at my word.
Most ridiculously careless of me, De Leon. I seem to have left my snuff box with you yesterday.
Why, yes, of course. It is here on the table.
This is my friend, Monsieur Poe of the United States, Le Comte de Leon.
A pleasure, Your Excellency.
Ah, an American. I trust you are finding Dupin a satisfactory guide to the sights of our capital?
A most superior guide, monsieur.
It is fortunate that you returned, Dupin. I should like your opinion on a folio I have purchased. It was delivered this morning.
I should be delighted to look at it.
It is there on the desk. I am assured that it is unquestionably...
Listen. What's happening?
Upon my word, there seems to be some disturbance in the street. Those were shots. I don't understand.
Open the window, monsieur. Let's see what it is.
Indeed, yes.
There.
There. That man. He has a pistol.
He's firing into the crowd. Why don't some of the men seize him?
Discretion, Monsieur Poe. The fellow is obviously a lunatic. The gendarmes are coming at last.
Yes, they've got him. What a peculiar thing.
They're taking him off now. Dupin, what do you make of it?
What is it? Is the excitement over?
Well, you're a cool fellow. You mean you haven't moved from that desk through all of this?
I was absorbed in this manuscript. Also, it pains me to look upon disorder.
Well, and what do you think of my acquisition?
Well, most interesting. I must beg your leave to come again and examine it more at leisure. Come, my dear Poe, we shall be going, before any more shooting starts.
Yes, of course. Delighted to have made your acquaintance, Comte de Leon.
And yours, monsieur?
Au revoir, de Leon.
Au revoir, monsieur. Dupin, a moment.
What is it?
Regardez, mon ami. You have once again forgotten your snuff box.
Dupin, I am desperate. You have accomplished nothing by these visits to Delaware.
Softly, softly. You recall my saying, my dear Poe, that our friend Garand here would surely have found the letter had the minister's reasoning been anything like his own.
But you know I did everything. My reputation is at stake.
One moment, monsieur. I was convinced that De Leon would reason quite differently, after the fashion of the child Pierre with his marble.
Please, Dupin, this is serious.
Assuredly. And so De Leon had to find a method of concealment that would not occur to Monsieur le Préfet. And it was you, my dear Poe, who convinced me that De Leon had concealed the letter by the very artistic means of not concealing it at all.
You mean the bookseller's sign?
Exactly. It was right under your nose, and for that very reason completely escaped your eyes.
But how did you...
Under cover of your spectacles, I let my eyes wander about the room. And just under the mantelpiece, I saw hanging a cheap little pasteboard rack of the sort one puts visiting cards into. Did you happen to notice it, Garand?
Why, no. Not that I remember.
Just so. And for that, I must remind you of the 50,000 francs you spoke of a while ago. Here is a check. Would you mind filling it up for that amount?
What is this? I cannot see that
Well, there is much that you cannot see, Garand. This rack I spoke of. In it, with several cards, was a letter of most conspicuous unimportance.
I am not interested in unimportant letters.
And the minister knew it. This letter bore a large black seal instead of the small red one you described. The handwriting was feminine instead of large and bold. In short, it was so completely different that I was convinced it was the very same.
What? What's that you say?
Have you written that check yet, Garand?
Yes, sir. Here it is. 50,000 francs.
Thank you. And here is the purloined letter.
Mon Dieu! It is the letter. This is unbelievable. I shall be rich.
Control yourself, Garand, control yourself. The next day, my dear Poe, when you and I returned to the ministers under the pretext of retrieving my snuff box, I had the dummy letter you saw me making. While that disturbance was going on in the street, I made the change.
It was lucky for you that the lunatic came along when he did.
Quite so, huh? By the by, Garand, I believe you are still holding that fellow. I wish you would let him go. I cannot go about without a valet.
Your valet? You mean that lunatic is your valet?
You use your eyes even less than I had supposed, my dear Garand. You have seen Barty 20 times. You could at least have recognized him under the circumstances.
Gentlemen, I seem to be feeling a little indisposed, and I must return the letter to the owner at once. You will pardon me. Au revoir, monsieur.
Au revoir. Not a bad fellow, really, Paul.
So much for the purloined letter. But listen, Dupin. Very likely De Leon doesn't yet know it's gone.
That was my object. A pity I will never know his thoughts, though, when he is reduced to opening the false letter I left in its place.
Why? Did you put anything in it?
Why, it would have been insulting to leave it blank. He has read the Greeks, I know. We have often discussed them. So I just wrote, by way of signature, the line from Aristophanes. An eager, meager servant of the muse. We poets, mon ami, we understand each other at the last.
The curtain of the NBC University Theater falls on another in our series of radio plays based on the world's great stories. Tonight's adaptation of the Edgar Allan Poe story, The Purloined Letter, was written by Clarice A. Ross and starred Adolphe Manjou in the role of Auguste Dupin, with John Newland as Poe, David Wolfe as Garand, and Theodore von Els as De Leon. Adolphe Manjou may soon be seen in the Warner Brothers picture, My Dream Is Yours. Others in tonight's cast were Howard Jeffrey, Alma Lawton, Bill Shaw, Byron Kane, Francis Pascoe, and John Ramsey Hill. We invite you to listen again next week when the NBC University Theater will present Gulliver's Travels, a radio play based on the famous stories by Jonathan Swift, starring Henry Hull. Tonight's production of The Purloined Letter was under the direction of Max Hutto. Original music was composed by Albert Harris and conducted by Henry Russell. Productions of the NBC University Theater are currently being used in conjunction with a course in American and British fiction under a college by radio plan at the University of Louisville. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company. This is the NBC University Theater, bringing you a full-hour dramatization of Tales of Edgar Allan Poe, starring Joseph Schildkraut. We bring you one of the most extraordinary men of letters ever to put pen to paper in America. And we bring you 3 tales from his pen. First, Nosology, followed by The Cask of Amontillado, and finally, The Fall of the House of Usher. The author, of course, is Edgar Allan Poe, whose feverish dreams inspired tales both awesome and beautiful, tales which won for him a unique place among the greats of American literature. Here now is Mr. Edgar Allan Poe.
Men have called me mad. Perhaps I am. It has never been settled, really, whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence. Let it be assumed, therefore, that I, Edgar Allan Poe, am mad, and that I'm about to entertain you with 3 products of my imaginative but eccentric mind. The first of these, a curtain raiser, I will entitle only A Comic Mask. Mr. Conductor, if you please, some comic music.